What's up, you filthy casuals? Welcome to the Casual Shenanigans Gaming Podcast, a podcast all about the irreverent love of gaming. I'm one of your hosts, Jeremiah. Tonight, I'm joined by Dave of Rivia.
Acceptable.
And James the Gray.
Slightly less acceptable.
You thought I'd forgotten it. But yeah, how's everyone doing tonight?
Good.
Very good.
Anything new to report?
Nope.
Officially the worst start to a show ever. No, Joel is not with us. Joel is in Guatemala this week, as he explained on the podcast several weeks ago. He's going to try to call in at some point. We'll see how that goes. But tonight is a little bit of a special episode. We're going to be talking about how to become a PC gamer. That's going to be our main topic tonight. Because we talk a lot about PC gaming. We started this podcast as a PC gaming podcast. But, if you've never done it before, you're sitting like you don't have anyone next to you that does a lot of PC gaming to talk to about it. It might be hard just to jump in and become a PC gamer yourself. And maybe you're interested, maybe you're not interested, maybe you don't know why anyone would really want to be a PC gamer. So we're just going to talk it through tonight. We probably will take more than 1 week to do this, but we're going to start tonight. We want to be thorough. We like helping people. We like going through tech stuff like this. So we're going to hop into it. But before we do that, a few short announcements. Our Rocket League tournament has been going well. We're stalled on a couple of the matchups that need to happen because two of our people are on vacation and then Mark's controller broke. So we're in a little bit of a limbo for a week or so.
It's been going well for some people, you could say.
Yes. What is it? The Ball Bustin' Buddies? Is that their name?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, Snoov and Fake Thriller, they're winning everything so far.
They've been they can do the midair passes, get the rocket going, bounce it back and forth, line it up and score it. It's insane.
I think I'm doing well if I drive across the field and connect with the ball. That's They're
passing it in midair. It's like 3D soccer. It's insane.
I mean, all soccer is kind of 3D. But anyway, I know what you mean. All right, I'm sorry. I know what you mean. But yeah, that's really all our announcements. Everything else is going really well for the podcast. We don't have a lot of announcements to make because everything's good. We do have a new Patreon thank you to do. James, do you think you could do this voice?
I don't know if I can.
I bet you could. I trust in you to do it more than I do.
Hey, it's Fat Albert.
All right, that sounds good.
Not bad.
Go for it.
Thank you, Cody, for your pledge.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Man.
Cody, thank you for supporting us on Patreon. For anyone who doesn't know, Patreon is a way for you guys to support the podcast. It pays for our relatively minimal podcast expenses, like our Libsyn hosting, our website hosting, our Teamspeak server, our community Teamspeak server, which you guys are always welcome to use, even if you're not playing with us. You can get some friends together, and if you need a Teamspeak server, hop in. If you want a special channel just for your event that's going on, let us know. We can set one up for you. And if you guys want to come hang out with us, we're on there most nights during the week, at least, playing games somewhere around 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And as always, the link to our Teamspeak server is in the description of all of our podcasts. So if you want to check it out, that's where you can go do it.
Just think, Jeremiah, if the Potato Masher weren't here to host our Arma 3 mod pack downloads, though, our costs, per month, it'd be a minimum of $600 per month in bandwidth just for Arma mods, nonstop.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It also pays for the Potato Masher, which records the podcast and has been a very interesting experiment so far. And we'll be talking about that later in the episode. Teaser.
And lights and mics. Don't forget
lights and mics. You notice we are all using good lights this week because Joel isn't here. So everyone who's not Joel is using a good light. And then everyone's using these good mics. James sounds 10 times better than he did a month or 2 ago. Or 2 months ago on his old mic. This mic is better suited for him, and everyone else's sound pretty good too. So I'm actually kind of looking forward to moving into a smaller room, and I can put some sound editing material up because my mic doesn't sound as good as I want it to. But it's probably safe to say literally no one else cares. So we'll go ahead and move on to the main topic. Do you guys have any other announcements or anything you need to talk about? I don't want to hop straight into it, but
Oh, I'm ready for this. Let's talk about PC gaming.
All right.
Joel's not here. Go wild.
So our main topic is how to become a PC gamer. And we've broken it up into a couple different parts. So we're going to start right at the beginning. Why? Why should you be a PC gamer? Why would you want to switch to PC gaming or add a PC to the platforms that you game on? Because while we are all PC gamers, we're not exclusively PC gamers. We've talked about this before. Regardless of where we got our start, we've all gamed on consoles and PCs for multiple decades now. So, like Dave plays probably 95% on the PC. Joel's probably 95% on consoles. And then James and I are like somewhere in the middle. We're all along like a nice spectrum. But we all appreciate the different platforms for the different things they can offer, regardless of how much crap we give each other on a regular basis. That's just normal. We'd be doing that about anything we had opinions about, but we respect the strengths and weaknesses of the individual platforms. So, James, I want you to talk about backwards compatibility, because I think that's a very compelling reason to be a PC gamer. And you collect a lot of games, you like having collections of games, and you like lots of older games. So what is backwards compatibility on a PC? How is that different from a console?
Well, I mean, when you buy a new console, you may get the last generation as compatible on the new console, but usually you have to keep all the same hardware. That adds up, and you really want to play on one device with all that stuff. But the cool thing about a PC is you're not just going back a generation; you can go back many generations. I mean, that's the great thing, is that it's not really a generational thing. Eventually things do go away. Like games for Windows Live will break for a while, but usually the good thing about that is, even with the old games, you have a community that will make it work somehow, even if it doesn't work by the manufacturer. But for me, I have a bunch of old games that I played. Gosh, I played them on like the PS1, I think, the Dreamcast. But they're also PC games that, I could either hook up the PS1 or a Dreamcast, or I could pop in the PC controller and, play that. And so that, I think, that wide variety, you don't have that generational barrier that you'll have on a console.
Realistically, go ahead, Dave. Go ahead.
I was going to say, James, you mentioned the just general support out there to help with the backwards compatibility. Have you guys heard of PC Gaming Wicki before?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It's actually one of the groups I support on Patreon. These guys do a really awesome job of it's a big wiki focused on getting older PC games to work. So if you have like an older RTS that has like weird resolution issues, you go to the wiki page for it, and they have like all these custom downloads and fixes for it. And it's a nice, like well-designed central location to see just tons of those fixes for older games. It's a great resource. And
realistically, like the type of thing where you just buy a game, you pop it in and you play it, after like 10 or 15 years, it's harder to do that. Like games from the early 2000s, if you try to play Knights of the Old Republic, like I have a problem. It wasn't designed for widescreen monitors or anything above like 720p resolution. So, running it at 4K, I have to run it at 1600 by 1200 stretch to fit the screen. So like, it's not going to be a perfect experience. So if you're expecting a console-like experience where you pop in and play it, the way you got to think about it is this is an experience you wouldn't be able to have on a console because the game is so old. You'd have to be able to find an older console in good working condition. So
that's not a problem.
Usually
for
it
me.
Isn't.
I'm just saying.
For me, it's a matter of space. I don't want my entertainment system to be like Joel's.
Ooh. But yeah, usually, you might have to put in a little bit more work on some older games, but you can actually play them on a newer system.
Well, the thing about that though is, like I do have a little CRT TV, like a regular TV that I have hooked, like a Dreamcast and a PS2 hooked up, just because they look like crap on higher definition TVs.
Yeah, you need that smear filter. That's
you need less pixels altogether. But the cool thing about playing some older games is that, with PC, you can find that higher resolution. I mean, it doesn't, like you said, it's not always perfect, but I can't hook up a PS2 to my big TV out in the living room and like look at it and be like, oh, this looks okay. Yeah, it looks like butt, the entire time I'm playing.
Yeah.
So being able to play some of those older games on a computer where you can find the widescreen hacks and stuff like that. I don't know. I think that's one of the benefits too.
Occasionally, even companies support that. Like Origin this week is giving away Red Alert 2 and all the expansion packs for free on Origin. That game came out in 2000. I want to say 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that game back in the day, and now I have a copy on Origin that I can launch and play in 2015. That's pretty sweet.
And another thing is, a very common thing on consoles is you'll release games from the previous generation or two, get the HD re-release, which is kind of funny this generation because the last generation was HD. They're just means slightly better HD. Maybe HD with a tiny bit of anti-aliasing or playing at 1080p, not 500p upscale.
Full HD.
But with the PC, you can like automatically get the HD re-release because you can just play an older game at higher resolution, like with better graphics options. Like you can turn them all the way up. You can even use like NVIDIA Dynamic Super Resolution, which is super easy to use, and super sample games where you could run a game from like 2000. You could super sample it to 4K, downscale it to your screen, and it would look awesome, like probably better than the official HD re-release.
Yeah.
And it's free. Like it just comes with it. Like Gears of War, the HD remaster that's coming out on the Xbox One. The videos they've been releasing of it, honestly, I don't think look as good as the PC version from 2008 or whenever, running at its maximum settings on modern hardware. Like there's
there have been several games like that where they've done the HD re-release. It's like it looks okay, but it didn't make the jump. I mean, there's no reason why it shouldn't be running the same as a PC on some of those older games, like a game like Arcania, which was never that graphically robust.
And everyone, if you never play on the PC, you probably have heard about Steam sales, the famous Steam sales.
Yes.
And that's a really good opportunity to pick up older games that you might be interested in, previous generational stuff. Because like AAA games from 5 or 6 years ago, you'll get them for $2 to $10, cheaper than you'll be able to get an HD re-release on a console, and you can pick them up. And, they'll play on even old computers. Like they're really easy to get into. It's kind of like a nice bonus feature, which is nice on consoles. Again, this entire night, we're not ragging on consoles. We're just explaining there are advantages. There can be disadvantages, but there are definite advantages. Another thing is choice of hardware. Dave,
I have to show you this before we move on.
Yeah.
Speaking of older games, I bought this earlier this week.
Okay.
Here's a Super Nintendo version. It's actually not that far off, like as far as the stickiness and stuff.
Is it a USB controller?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. So you can plug it into your computer?
Oh, yeah. It's fun.
That's awesome. Fun. Who makes it?
Buffalo.
Buffalo. So it's a Buffalo, like, Super and SNES controller? Cool.
Yep.
All right. Choice of hardware. Dave, talk to us about that.
I mean, the sky's the limit, or you can keep things down to earth when it comes to hardware. In my computer, I've got a 680 Ti that I just saved up for, and I'm going to use that one hopefully for a while. It works great for recording, for 3D. The amount of time that I use my computer, like, it was definitely a good investment, but not for everybody. I'm working on putting a build together for my younger brother right now, and we're going to put together a PC, just the box itself, for like $350 total. Got a used graphics card for it, $40 power supply, motherboard, CPU combo. You can really go low end. And if you start adding used parts in, then you can get even lower. I mean, the deals are nuts. And I know you and me both, Jeremiah, have had really great luck with used parts. So just the spectrum of options that you have. You can wait for Black Friday and get the new stuff, good deals, current gen. You can go back a generation and get the old stuff used, even from Amazon Warehouse, that comes with warranties and guarantees and stuff like that.
Whatever gamer you want to be, you can build a computer that suits that. Like a lot of people like playing League of Legends and Dota. Those are some of the most popular games in the world, and they don't really require high-end hardware. I mean, you could be a PC gamer just by like turning to that laptop you use for school and install League of Legends. Like it probably works, Being a PC gamer doesn't necessarily mean you have to buy some high-end hardware. But if you want to like run a 4K monitor or a 1440p 144 hertz monitor, you want to have like triple monitor surround set up. You want to have like 4 terabytes of storage space. You can install every game you own at one time. Like you can do all of that. Or you can also go really, really simple. So, if you are thinking about being a PC gamer, I think it's important that you think to yourself, what type of games do I want to play on this? Because like if you're replacing your console, then you want a pretty well-rounded system. If you mostly just want to play older games or emulated games or like MMOs, MOBAs, stuff like that, maybe you want a different build, and you should think about, okay, what do I want to do? And then leave yourself a little bit of growing room, which is another good thing about PC. Unless you make a really bad build, it'll be upgradable in the future, and you can expand as your needs change and as your wants change. Because like most people, if you've never played on a PC, you're probably going to buy a couple games on Steam, do the one-click install, and then try them out. Like you're probably not going to jump straight to modding or like reg editing old games to get them to work or something, you know.
But you will jump to spending lots and lots of money on Steam very soon.
I mean, lots of money.
At
On a Steam
$2 a
sale,
pop.
you'll spend $40 and get like 15 games, and that'll hold you for like a year. It's still pretty darn cheap, but
I'll hold you until the next sale.
No,
But
true.
the one thing I was going to say is also that, you know, computers are something everybody, or I'm not going to say everybody, most people need in their houses.
yeah.
You know, whether they're in school, whether they use it for
yeah.
other, you know, related purposes. So that's an expense that you're pretty much going to make anyway. And so you're not, when you're comparing, you know, console gaming to PC gaming, you're not comparing necessarily, I'm spending, you know, $350 on a console versus $600 on a PC for, you know, a medium range. You're really, you have to, since you already have that expense that you need to spend on the computer anyway, I mean, you can kind of justify, okay, so I would have spent at least $400 on the computer, maybe just for a tower or something, for a cheap one. So if I spend a little bit more, I might get a little bit more out of it. So for me, it's, if you're going to spend it anyways, you might as well spend a little bit more and make it something you're going to use for, you know, a lot of different purposes.
Yeah.
And once you start
on
gaming,
there, James.
once you start getting nicer hardware, there's all kinds of other things you can do. Like if you get interested in editing video, if you get interested in, you know, making crappy loops to put on YouTube, go for it.
What was that famous thing happened like a week ago? People saying the death of PC with like the iPad Pro. People making videos about the death of PC, and the top comment is, "Yeah, what was this made on?"
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
this-
Has anybody ever edited? Has anybody ever edited with iMovie on iPad?
It's the worst.
It's so bad.
It's one of those things like if you don't really do some of this stuff professionally, you think like, oh man, laptops totally fine for all this stuff. Like, you know, my MacBook Air can do everything I possibly need. For some things that's true, but for some stuff, there's no substitute for basically a big old diesel truck. I mean, think about it that way.
I literally cannot sit and use iMovie. Like I just I'm like, where's this? I don't have a cut tool. What? I can't separate my audio channels. What?
I actually ran across a thread on Polycount a few weeks back about a group of guys who were working on an app for iPads that lets you do 3D modeling, and their goal was to basically replace like Maya on a tablet. And props to these guys for the effort, but man, the UI, the amount of buttons that like crowded the screen and just it was just not good. And going back to actually my brother's PC, that's a great example. He wanted to buy like a used like Cowboom Toshiba laptop. He wants to do video. He wants to do video rendering and like Netflix and stuff like that.
I wouldn't buy a new one.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, $250. I'm like, let's add $100 to that and build a desktop because he wants to play Arma too, if possible. So we're gonna go for an Intel build, just an i5, 8 gigs of RAM, and then he'll do all the video stuff, all the Netflix stuff, all the home theater stuff, and then games once you add a graphics card to it. It's expandable, and it's like, there's a build that you can configure for anybody. You can figure out exactly what your needs are, and then from there you can start talking about like, what are the wants? Like, okay, I need to do the video stuff, the word processing, the browsing, and the theater stuff. I want to play games. Like, what does that budget look like? How does that change? And hardware can definitely be a little bit overwhelming too, because there's just so much available. But the amount of communities out there right now where you can just go to Reddit r/build a PC and look at example builds. You can ask for help. There's YouTube videos. There's guides put out by PC Gamer. There's a lot of options in hardware, but there's also tons and tons of resources now too.
Yeah, and we're going to simplify it for you as we go here, so that you like, if you're feeling kind of overwhelmed, don't worry, we'll make it kind of easy. So the next thing is choice of software.
Oh,
so,
actually, now for software, Jeremiah,
yes.
Isn't it true that all games on PC, you buy them from the Microsoft store, right? You go into
No.
Windows, you buy all your games from the Microsoft store? I thought that's how
if you're
it works.
smart, you don't buy any of them from the Microsoft store.
That's not true. I got my Minecraft beta 10 Windows
For
10.
free?
Yeah.
You got that free sample they gave you? Yeah. But so with software, one of my main gripes with the PS4 is the voice chat. Their default voice chat thing is kind of like the Steam voice chat. And you might be thinking here, what? Steam has voice chat? It does. No one uses it. Not very many people use it. But on the PlayStation, the voice quality is not good. And getting someone into your party is kind of inconvenient. Once you get them in there, like, they don't tell you a lot of information about their mic, like just a little thing lights up when they're talking. It doesn't give you a lot of feedback if there's problems, like it either works or it doesn't. And even when it works, sound quality is not very good. But on the PlayStation, that's all you can use if you want to stick with just the PlayStation. Xbox is a bit better, but you're still limited to using their application. But on the PC, we use Teamspeak, which is really great. We have our own Teamspeak server where we don't even have to be in a game. We can connect to it from our phones, from our computer. I mean, you can even be on a console if you're sitting next to your computer and you can use Teamspeak. Or you could use Mumble, or Ventrilo, or Skype. Or what's that new one people are talking about, like a replacement for Skype? I can't remember what the name is.
Anything, please, anything.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like what Skype was like 5 years ago before they got real stupid. But, you have your choice. And there are like good standard choices. Like I'd say Teamspeak is probably the standard choice. Teamspeak, Mumble, or Vent are the ones that most people would choose.
I gotta say, I'm spoiled now by
Teamspeak,
by good quality audio when we're all talking.
Gosh. Yeah, it's
like I actually hate talking on the phone now because it's just the sound is so bad. I'm like, hey, would you mind just getting on Skype? Can we do a Skype call? So I can put my headphones on, have a nice mic.
You know what I do now, James? I actually make all my calls using Google Hangouts. Because you can call phone numbers now for free using Google Hangouts. And then I have my my PlayStation adapter that lets me plug in an extra headset to it. And I've run that into my phone because it's the same adapting. You're adapting to a 4-pin 1/8 of an inch connector. So I use a gaming headset with a swing down mic when I'm on the phone with people. So my phone just sits to the side, and I'm using on Wi-Fi voice quality. So it actually sounds pretty stinking good.
Yeah.
It's great.
That's awesome. That's very nerdy and very
PC
awesome.
master racing my phone here. But... and then for other software, so like on the PlayStation and the Xbox, you can capture video. They've got their built-in video apps, which, to give them credit, they work pretty well. But on the PC, you could do that with the built-in stuff like Shadowplay or AMD's Game DVR, or you could use DxTory or Fraps. There's free options. There's paid options. There's options like with DxTory, I can break my mic feed up into a separate track and game audio into a separate track so I can adjust the level later. There was this really funny video Joel had. He was playing Shovel Knight and James was watching him, and Joel recorded it on his PlayStation. And we went back later and listened to it, but it sucks because you can't hear what Joel's saying because the mic audio is just not leveled correctly. Because, I mean, when you start recording, it doesn't really tell you anything on the PlayStation about how your mic level is. But like, it sucks because we can barely hear Joel's voice in the background. But, on a PC, you could theoretically adjust that later if you set up your recording to do those tracks separately. So, you have options.
And yeah, once again, it's the range of options is nuts. I use actually both of those for recording. I use Shadowplay on the simple end. It just works. It works great. It's built in. It's fast. I use DxTory for more complicated recording. I use Audacity. I mean, you've got, I think Fraps is still around if you're that person. There's just so many options, and I love that, to be able to choose like the exact thing that I'm looking for to solve the problem.
Yeah,
I mean, the average person doesn't care necessarily about recording clips and stuff like that, and like making like creative videos. But if you find that that's interesting to you, even if you're playing on a console, you're gonna try to find a way to move it to a computer to edit. I mean, the built-in editors are just not. They're very limited. Like, they're fun for like cutting together a clip and then putting it up online immediately. But, I couldn't even imagine some of the Arma videos and stuff that we do using that kind of editor.
Dude, no. Oh.
And so, that's a new avenue for you. Like, if you want to get creative with your content, I mean, not just having better quality, but having better tools to just go nuts with it.
And it's all about choice. That's the thing we need to keep driving home. You don't have to do any of this.
Yes.
You can use built-in Steam chat or the built-in voice chat in one of the games. You can use everything completely standard. Like, there's not like standard, but you know what we're saying? Like, you can get a very vanilla setup and never stray outside of it.
Yeah.
But if you want to, the tools are there and a lot of them are free. So you can experiment. If you're totally happy with your recording options, but you're like, man, I kind of would like nicer voice quality. pretty much any mic that works with a computer, I mean, literally any mic that works with a computer, you can use with Teamspeak. And you could just install Teamspeak for free, hop on a free voice server. Like, it's super easy to do.
And they're all plug and play for the most part. All the mics are just, you plug it in and it recognizes it, make sure it's set to that microphone, and there you can go for it.
Yeah. It's PC gaming is all about choice. There's no necessarily right way to do it or wrong way to do it. There's best ways to do it for what you want, and there's right ways to do it for what you want. But you can really do anything you want. The next thing on why would you want to switch to a PC? Mods. Dave, I'm going to let you start this because it seems like the right way to do it.
Yeah, honestly, guys, I was just talking to Joel about this last week, and he was laughing at me because I have a mod now for The Witcher 3 that lets me run the game at any time scale I want to. So I can run the game at 20% slow motion if I want to with no UI. And I was telling him, like...
As if you needed a way to make it take longer.
I know, right? I spent one night, literally 3 hours in The Witcher, just doing slow motion clips, taking screenshots at like 5K. I was upscaling the game to 5K. And I love creative stuff like that. To me, like, being able to explore the world and, like, kind of just do what I want with the game. I told Joel... I've had a lot of fun with the PS4 this year. Like, Bloodborne was great. I've really been enjoying multiplayer in Last of Us. But I would bet the fun I've had in the mods for The Witcher 3 alone beats the fun I've had with my PS4, just because for me, that's a really big deal. For me, it's always been about customizing my experience. I mean, I started modding games, cracking open the games to just modify stuff when I was like 11, like Red Alert 1. I wanted to I think I had soldiers that each bullet that they would fire was like a nuclear warhead because it was hilarious. But now I do stuff like the free cams or color mods to tweak the graphics how I want them, or for The Witcher to increase the draw distance of trees. And then you have stuff like, let's look at GTA 5. The mods out for that, I actually have a tab open. I opened it earlier. PC Gamer is running the best mods for GTA 5. You can add the Planet Express ship to GTA 5 with a full interior. There's a mod that lets you just play as a police officer, which is like a game I've always wanted. It's like a nice open world cop sim. There's mods for that. You can add Knight Rider to GTA 5 or a Transformer and fight it in the middle of Los Santos. Definitely for me, modifications have always been a big part of my experience. For me, also, creating my own. I love playing Arma 3, but if Arma 3 were just vanilla Arma 3, I'd probably be tired of it by now. But because of all the mods that we use and all the content that I get to create and then force you guys to play, it's like
now we're tired of it. No, I'm just kidding.
James is like, it's time for a talk. Segue. Honestly, like that longevity is a huge deal. And there's talk about we're going to have mods for Fallout 4 on the consoles now. And I think there's going to be a lot of console players who are going to get that first taste of being able to customize the experience to their liking. And that can be a
step
big
in the right
hook
direction
for
for consoles.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. And modding has gotten so much easier. It's such a great time to be a PC gamer. And we'll get to that when we talk about building. Now you can go onto the Steam Workshop, and a lot of mods, you find a mod you like, you click the subscribe button, and that's it. Like, you start the game up and the mod's installed for you. Like, that is as easy as it could possibly get. You're really just like picking free DLC for your game. Think about it. I'm trying to put it in terms that would make sense to a console player. I'm not trying to sound like condescending, but it's basically like free DLC other people have made. Some of it's crap, but there are ratings. Like, if a ton of people say, hey, this sucks, don't do this, there'll be ratings on Steam, and that, you got to kind of use your own judgment. But most of it's pretty cool stuff. All the stuff that rises to the top is pretty sweet. And you can just try it out. Like City Skylines, you can just go in there and be like, do I want this building? Yes. Do I want this different type of roundabout? Sure. Do I want to add this to it? Yes. And you just click all these things and then boom, you're good to go.
And go ahead, James.
I was going to say, you mentioned cracking it open. That sounds like you're just like getting to the code and like tweaking
I'm
like minor
the game.
I'm
down to
using both hands on
the
the
binary
keyboard.
level. Like Jeremiah said, it's super easy now to mod stuff, but you don't have to necessarily mod to make a complete overhaul. Like something like Fallout 3, you could change the sky so it didn't have the green effect, so it had the just nice, beautiful skies and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Just you can create the experience you want, and it's relatively easy. I think even better analogy than DLC would be like, you know, like Minecraft has their skin packs. It'd be like a skin pack. You can basically just throw a skin on there and you're playing the same game, but you're looking at it in just completely different light. But you can't add, you know, weapons. You can change your physics. A lot of games also have console commands that you can pop into that for some reason they don't do on the did I say console? The PC. Yeah. Console commands and
Console commands.
on the PC.
Consoles and
not on the
developers.
console.
Explain what a console command is real quick,
Console
James.
command is usually you hit like the tilde or something like that, whatever they have set up. And you can go in and like they use it for development to like, you know, say they're playing a game and they want to give themselves a gun to try an area. Well, a lot of times they'll leave that in the game for the player. So if they're just want to feel like messing around, want to jump 100 feet in the air, they can. They just pop in, you know, they hit the tilde and they type in the code, which you can find anywhere at this point. I mean, with the internet, and you know, you can change your experience like that. So they used to do that on console games, so they don't do it as much anymore. Just it's really rare.
And Jeremiah, you're talking about just like some of the ease of the modding. If you don't want to, like James said, not everybody's just going to want to do the modding themselves. But the amount of content out there to pick from is just insane. And it's not limited to just Steam. The Nexus websites for Skyrim and Fallout, now The Witcher.
That's pretty great. That website's great.
Yeah, and now, James, for The Witcher 3, they actually have the Nexus Mod Manager now supports The Witcher 3. It's already been big for Skyrim for years, where you install the Nexus Mod Manager and it works like a launcher for all your mods. You subscribe to one and it adds it to your launcher. It like notifies you if there's an update for it, and to activate it, you just double click on it. And when CDPR went to add mod support for The Witcher 3, they talked to the Nexus websites and said, hey, can you guys support our game? And they said, yeah, sure. So if you go to the Nexus website for The Witcher or Fallout or Skyrim, add a mod, it pops up in your mod manager and it says, you want to activate this? You say yes, and then you launch the game and it does all the work for you. It can be so easy just to make tweaks or go nuts and add, you know, Gandalf's sword to Skyrim, which I definitely did. That was fantastic.
I was going to say something else. What was I going to say? Talk amongst yourselves.
James is entering the pit of remembrance.
Oh, I know what I was going to say.
We're back from the pit of remembrance.
a good. I'm great now. I gotta get the memory. Knights of the Old Republic 2. When they released it, it was released by another company that like basically took over the work, and it was a little shoddy. And the community actually went in and fixed a lot of the code and added some of the content back that was taken out. And so the definitive experience is actually based on playing the community's version of the game, which I think is pretty cool. That's something you get a lot of games where the community's modding it to fix it, and you know you're not going to get that necessarily on the console because you get what you get.
I mean, it sucks. Yeah, it sucks when a game is broken, and there isn't an excuse for that when someone releases a broken game. I mean, there are reasons why it happens, but like it sucks. But on the PC, at least there's an option. If they don't support it, usually someone will figure out some way to fix it because they're tired of messing with it. Like, you know, there's various issues games will have at launch or otherwise, and PC gamers within an hour or so, there'll be threads online, like on the Reddit for that game, or r/PC gaming, where people have just cracked it open and figured out. I keep saying that cracked it open thing. You've made me self-conscious about that now. And they'll just be talking.
It's so complicated.
You get the pry bar out, just get under the main frame.
They'll be like, hey guys, if you turn off this option and turn off this option, you can actually kind of bypass that problem until it's fixed. Or on the console, if it's a game-breaking problem, you might just be stuck until they patch it. Mm-hmm. So that doesn't happen super often, but it is nice when it does happen that the community can kind of come together and figure stuff out.
And Jeremiah, to wrap up the modding topic, let me drop a couple numbers for you, because we talked about a couple of games, Skyrim being one of them, that have large amounts of mod support, but the PC especially has a lot of sandbox-style games where the custom content and the mods are a huge part of the lifetime of the game, and the developers plan ahead for that. We mentioned Arma 3. That's a game completely sandbox, and the developers have 15 years now of documentation and mod support for that game. On the Steam Workshop alone, there are 16,000 custom missions you can play.
Man.
If half of those are crap, you only have, oh no, I only have 5, 6, 7,000 missions left to play.
If 95% of them are crap, which I'd say at least 75% of them aren't amazing.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you know, but the highest rated 200, okay, that's 200 super well rated, well made missions. Like that's pretty awesome.
But even if they aren't great,
Yeah.
if you're still wanting to experience it, like you've experienced all you can from the game that you've got, the vanilla, even if the stories or what they created is not that great, you're still getting to experience it a little bit more.
Yeah, it's optional. It's optional. You don't have to do it. You can have the totally vanilla experience, but if you want the slightly nicer or different one, it's there. Someone's made it.
And I want to say that I guess one of the biggest cases for modding with PC was the inception of DayZ. I mean, a whole game came out of just modding something.
Yeah.
And, now we have a
DayZ,
standalone.
Counter-Strike, Team Fortress 2. Like there's a real big history of that. And then one last game I wanted to mention sandbox-wise is City Skylines. These guys launched their city builder with mod support built into the game on day one, with Steam Workshop support on day one. There are now 12,000 custom terrains you can build your city on. The game comes with like I think 20 custom terrains or built-in terrains. You have another 12,000 custom ones.
How many do you have downloaded, Dave?
Probably a good 20 or 30 custom ones alone. Like that's there are 400 mods, including like traffic managers, AI updates where you can like add turn lanes and customizable stuff like that. 400 mods just for like programming stuff. And then for like assets, custom lighting, custom buildings, custom trains or cars, there are, and I'm making a list here, scanning, there's over 20,000 of those now in the last 4 months. Like, if you want to add content to your city, you can make a European city, an American city, a post-apocalyptic city, one on Mars, actually. You can make anything you want with that custom content. And like Jeremiah said earlier, on Steam, it's just you click the subscribe button. It's so easy. That's some serious value.
Now, our next point. Should you build or should you buy if you want to switch? So let's start with buying. James, since Joel isn't here, you could probably do a good job. What would Joel's main point he'd probably bring up to? What would be a main deficiency of PC gaming that could be maybe fixed by buying a computer?
For Joel, or can I just speak to my...
All right, speak for yourself, but like I imagine, I want to be fair to Joel. I know what he'd bring up if he was here, and it's a valid point. So I was hoping you could, I mean, the whole thing about like, is any of it going to work?
I mean, for me, it's a safe way to get into it. You're not like, if you don't know what you're doing, getting into building your own PC, like you don't have much experience at all. I mean, you're really going in blind. So I think that's the safe way to get started. You can start with buying a system in a store that has a decent amount of RAM and a decent hard drive, and swap out the video card, and you're probably set to play most games. Maybe not the highest settings, but if you put a decent card in there for what the power supply can handle, I mean, you're set. I mean, there's really not a lot of fuss in that, putting in a video card. And with buying a computer, you do get the extended warranty. You can go to whatever computer store that you would prefer. I'm not going to name any because I don't necessarily recommend going and getting their plans, but whatever. But if you say you buy from Dell, you can get Dell support. They'll still service it even if you've switched out the video card. I mean, you get to a point where you pulled out too much stuff, they're not going to service it. So I think that's the benefit. The downside is, you're going to spend a little bit more to get that ready-made computer, but once you get it, you've got it. And
but like you said, I mean, most people have a computer of some kind anyway. So if you look at it as spending the money you'd spend on a console, add that to what you would spend on your computer, you could get a much better computer than you would have had for a console, and you can still have a useful computer. Like it's, if you're just doing it for gaming, it might be a little bit of it's going to be a bigger expense. You can't buy a computer out of the box as cheap as a console that's going to plug and play.
Right.
And have all the options like a console. Now, Steam machines are trying to change that. The Alienware Alpha is about as cheap, and it comes with an Xbox 360 controller. Like, times are a changing a little bit, but we're not quite there yet. So you probably are looking at spending a little more money. But you do get that, that warranty right from the manufacturer. If something goes wrong, that can be really nice.
The software is already installed too. I mean, you literally, it's a little more plug and play. I mean, you'll have to do updates and stuff like that, but
for me,
you're
it's
ready
like
to go.
It's having to remove some of the software that would be the problem for
Yeah,
me. It's
that's me immediately. I'm looking at what can I take off?
PCdecrapifier. It's a free
Yes.
app. PCdecrapifier. You run it on a new computer. You start it up. It goes, "Is this a new computer?" You say yes, and it makes a list of all the programs installed on it. And you can just click one button, and it hides all the Microsoft stuff, meaning all the stuff your computer needs. And then you can just click the uninstall button, and it just wipes it all out.
Well,
It's
I mean,
nice.
if you're going to go into buying one, you can get the Windows Signature Edition from Microsoft, and they usually have decent sales. I mean, you'll pay a little bit more for theirs, but you get the absolute most vanilla Windows experience.
It's like the Android Nexus experience. Yeah. Now, building. Dave, why should somebody build?
I mean, value. For the same money that you would pay for a pre-built, you can probably top that performance by what would you say, 35, 40% if you really push it? Like, easily.
For the money?
Yeah.
I'd say double.
Double?
I don't say double.
Well, it depends on the price range you're in. If you're in the $600 to $700 price range, you could double your performance. If you're in the $1,500 price range, those are normally priced pretty competitively for the parts that are in them. So, it depends on how much you're going to spend, but you will definitely always get more performance if you build. That part's for sure. Now, but Dave,
Yeah.
is it hard to build a computer? For someone who's never done this before, let's be honest, computers have a lot of parts in them.
Yes.
It can be very complicated if you don't know what you're doing just looking at a computer. It may not make sense. How simple are modern computers really?
I think before you build a computer, there's really two important questions you've got to ask yourself. First of all, do you have access to the internet whatsoever? That's question number one. Number two is, as a child, did you struggle with Lego sets? Because that might be where you want to stop. Honestly, if you look up a guide, get the PC Gamer building guide, look up just a video, not the MSI ones though, they're not great. It's just a matter of when you buy the parts, make sure that you have parts that are compatible, and there's websites that do it for you. PC Part Picker will warn you if parts are incompatible. So you buy the correct parts, and then you just assemble them in the correct order. You follow the instructions, guys. It's really, I don't want to call it simple, but it's straightforward. Just put some time into it and go for it. It's not that difficult.
It really is decently simple because if you're doing a basic gaming build, you're getting a case, a power supply, motherboard, graphics card, processor fan, memory, hard drive. And then, like a controller, mouse, or keyboard, whatever. You get some peripherals along with it, but the computer itself is that. That sounds complicated, but really, your case, the motherboard only mounts in it one way, and they show you how to do it. The power supply, it's 4 Phillips head screws. That's super easy to do. All the plugs for the power supply only fit into one slot on the board. You can't accidentally plug the wrong one in on the motherboard. You might forget to plug one in, but if you're following a guide, there aren't that many plugs to put in.
Right.
Your hard drive really only mounts in one place in the case. You'll have 5 hard drive bays, mount at any one of them. No big deal. You get a CD drive, DVD drive, really only mounts in one place in the case. Graphics card, it tells you it goes in this slot that it fits in. If you just go careful and follow the guide, it really is like Legos. You want to be careful. You don't want to get a bunch of static electricity. You don't want to drop something and break it, but the stuff is not that wimpy.
That goes for most things. Like don't drop it. Don't wear a sweater and work on things on carpet.
Don't rub your feet while you're building.
I'm so excited about my computer.
I think the hardest part about building a computer is being indecisive about the parts you want to put in there. I think that's harder than the actual build. They're like, do I want this case? Do I want to spend 50 extra bucks? It looks really nice.
But if you go to PC Part Picker or r/build-a-PC, you can just say, hey, they have some questions they'll ask you. What's your budget? How soon are you going to buy? Do you have access to a couple of these stores that tend to have good deals, like Micro Center? What do you want to do? What games do you want to play? And do you have any parts already? Do you have an old monitor or a keyboard and mouse from another computer already? Do you have anything you don't need to buy, or do you need to get the whole thing? You answer those questions, and a couple people will put together different builds using PC Part Picker links, and other people will tear their build apart, so you don't have to necessarily ask all the questions. The good people will ask you follow-up questions to find out what you need. And then once everyone kind of agrees on, okay, this is the best build, it gets voted to the top, you can go to PC Part Picker, and there's an add to cart button. It's pretty much that simple,
Yeah.
It's more time consuming than just going to Amazon and clicking buy on a PlayStation. We are not saying getting into PC gaming is as simple as a console. So let's be very clear. If that's going to be an issue, it may not be for you, and that's okay. But if you are a little bit interested in gaming, you consider yourself a little bit of an enthusiast, you can do it. It's not that hard. And it's gotten so much easier. I built my first computer that was just for me. Like I did some Windows 95 and Windows 98 maintenance and stuff. My first from scratch computer, I installed Windows XP on it. And man, that install process, I think at the time, I don't think I had to boot off floppies. No, I did have to boot off floppies to get my SATA controller working. And then I had to like wait while it copies all the files over on that scary blue screen with the white text that doesn't make any sense. And there's a whole lot of keyboard shortcuts you have to hit and stuff. Like, it was a little bit of an intimidating process, but I still did it I think I was 17, and I still did it by myself. I asked my dad to give me some guidance on one part. After it was all put together and I was already installing Windows, I asked my dad for some guidance, but that was it.
That's the thing. We're in the generation now where you can look up anything on YouTube and just watch someone else do it and then do it right beside them. Like that's how I changed my brakes on my car.
Oh, I do everything on my car with
I mean,
YouTube videos, dude. I don't know jack without YouTube.
Like I've got my iPad sitting over here. It's like got finger grease all over it for me, like rewinding.
I was telling my father-in-law this past weekend my ideal garage setup, and he thought it was pretty funny. I mean, he's been like building engines for like 35 years, so he looks up stuff if it's electronic, if it's newer. But other than that, he just knows what he's doing. But I was like, my ideal garage has an old like 40-inch TV mounted on the wall.
You just put your projector in your garage.
with a keyboard with like a dust cover over it, so I can just continually look up YouTube videos, like with speakers mounted strategically so I can always hear what they're saying. Like that's the ideal setup for a garage. Because there's tutorials and everything. Newegg has a great video series, Maximum PC Gamer. IGN did one that a lot of people on the internet made fun of because the guy who was putting the heat paste on did it a slightly different way than people prefer, and the internet crapped its pants. But
it was pretty bad. Like he globbed it on there.
He did glob it on, but they should have picked a easier heatsink. They had one that had grooves, so he had to fill the grooves up, but they didn't really go into a lot of detail there.
Yeah.
Like, it was a legitimate way to do it. Probably not the ideal way, but the computer worked
Definitely
fine.
not the ideal way.
Yeah. Anyway.
I want to touch back on the buying. One of the benefits of building versus buying is when you buy a computer, I mean, you really need to research stuff that's actually kind of hard to find about buying a computer if you ever think you might want to upgrade it. Mm-hmm. Like a lot of times when you buy a computer, it's easy to find how many slots it has. I mean, I'll walk into a store and open up the side panel if, nobody's around. Yeah, I don't mind. But like knowing how much RAM you can put in there. So, I mean, if it's like locked at like 8 gigs and you're thinking, I might want to do, more video editing and stuff later. You can't do it. I mean, the motherboard, a lot of times they're limited, and I mean, you're not going to have too much issue with things being soldered in, but back in the day, that was actually an issue. Like especially with like e-machines, they would like solder the processor right onto the board.
Even a lot of computers, like Dell's computers. I mean, pretty much anyone's computers these days. The motherboard, like you can't swap it out for one of your own because they use proprietary mounting holes and proprietary connections for some stuff just to make sure you're not swapping too much out. To be fair for them, if they're going to warranty it, they want to ensure you can't break it too bad. Like, they want to be able to deny your claim if you ripped the motherboard out and then like try to glue another one in. Like, they need to be able to say, no, that's not, we built a working computer. You did something else to it. So,
but you're more likely to run out of stuff than you are if you build. I mean,
absolutely.
You'll run out of SATA ports if you want to add multiple hard drives. You'll run out of RAM space. You're probably gonna have to switch out your power supply at some point. I mean, you're always going to be limited, and so you're going to have to go back and like rebuy stuff to fix that limitation. So even though you spent more to get the complete package, if you decide to upgrade later, you're going to spend even more to get those parts because you're basically throwing away the money that you put into it.
And once you do the big build, it's not like you have to build a new computer every 4 or 5 years or however, like every new console generation. Once you've done the build, most parts can just be swapped out one at a time. Your motherboard requires you to take a lot of stuff apart to put a new motherboard in. But you can swap, and your case, obviously, but you can swap the power supply or the graphics card. You can swap a graphics card in 5 minutes. You can add more memory in 5 minutes. New hard drives, like it's super easy. Like my computer now, Okay, well, that's a bad example because I did do a complete rebuild this year where I put it in a new case. But before then, I hadn't rebuilt the computer, like built a new one, since I built that first gaming computer in like 2007 or 2008.
Yeah.
But one at a time, parts got swapped out. Like I was already 3 cases removed. I started out with that gaudy PC gaming case everyone gets with like the blue lights and the spinny fans and the big side window. And then I grew up and
let's just park on that for just a second.
Yeah.
Just okay. We're telling you, just get it out of your system before you even buy it.
Yes.
Let other people's have the crappy, crazy cases with the ugly fronts and the 12 lights in there, and like your whole room lights up, and you can't even get it dark enough to see your screen. Just get it out of your system. We
can say that, James, but it's like telling a teenager to like not drive too fast. Like they're gonna do it.
I wouldn't tell them that. I still drive too fast.
Yeah, we know. But you would you're going to tell your kids when they can drive, you're going to tell them to be careful, but they're going to not be careful sometimes because they're kids. If you're a younger person and it's your first gaming computer, it's going to be a little gaudy. That's totally fine. Realistically, not that many people see them. So get it out of your system, like Uncle James said, and you'll
buy the red LEDs to make it go faster.
It's like buying a Honda and getting purple tint windows and ground effects and a big nasty muffler. And xenon lights.
Whatever you do, don't stance your computer. No matter what you do, don't stance it, because that's from the devil. But yeah, I haven't I didn't do a completely new build. I just replaced parts one at a time, and then eventually my computer was a completely different computer. I never had to do that big initial cost of buying a new one again. I just incrementally upgraded parts as I needed to. I could keep it all the same, and then a couple years go by, and I'm like, time for a better graphics card. I just swap out the graphics card. I can even get some money back from the old one.
Yeah.
When I needed more hard drives, I just add more hard drives. Like, unless you're swapping out your boot drive that has Windows on it, or your motherboard, or your case, you don't really have to take everything out. You just take out the part you want to replace and put a new one in.
But you also have to be realistic with yourself. If you get generally into building, you're going to want to just build from scratch a few times in the future. Yeah. So, I mean, just expect that you're going to have probably a major like chunk of change out of your pocket eventually if you get really into it.
But you don't. I mean,
this sounds good. This sounds good in theory.
It does. Yeah.
But once you start upgrading, there comes a point where like I kind of want to put a new motherboard in for no reason. While I'm doing, I might as well get I'm just going to build a new computer. I'm just going to think about this way. I'll use this one for this, and then that never gets used for anything, and then.
As a console player, you have complaints. You have stuff that you don't love about your system. Like, oh man, this game is good, but I wish the frame rate on Bloodborne didn't dip into the teens when you had multiple people in the game. Like, that really sucks. Or, gosh, I wish the PlayStation's voice chat wasn't complete garbage. Like, I wish I had a better mic for the PlayStation. Well, you can add that to a PlayStation, but that's about all you can add. If you're like, man, if I had a better graphics card, Bloodborne would run better. You can get a better graphics card, and it is very tempting. Like James said, that temptation will be there when you could actually just throw money at the problem. Like there is no PlayStation 4.2 or 4.5 that's faster. Like they don't have that yet. But if there's a better part that makes your experience better, you can do it.
And well, here's the thing too. Not everybody's necessarily budget conscious either. I mean,
that's true.
I mean, you buy PS4, there's only so much you can do to make it better. Mm-hmm. Like you can buy a new TV, you can buy controller, like the Xbox, you can buy the Elite controller. If money's not an option, I mean, go nuts. And that is one of the benefits too, is if you really want to get into upgrading, Jeremiah, you have a nice video card. You can do pretty much anything you want. I mean, it's overkill if you wanted to play 1080p games, but you don't want to play 1080p games. You want to have one of the best experiences you can possibly have. So I'm not saying money's not an issue for you, but you do have legitimate business expense that goes into that too.
I'll be honest. My first computer was a bit of a budget build. It was respectable. It was $800. I mean, it wasn't a super cheap computer, but I was playing games on high settings. Like I was having a great experience, way better than my PlayStation 3 that I bought the same summer. Like way better looking games and stuff. But I'm an adult now. I'm out of college. I have a stable job. Like finances are okay. I'm not rich or anything. I mean, YouTube isn't really like, I'm not rolling in it. Okay, guys.
Wait, what?
Yeah. But I have a stable job. This is something I'm passionate about and I enjoy doing. So if I want to spend more money on it, I can. And yeah, my setup now is nice. I have a 4K monitor. I have the single fastest graphics card you can buy. I have 17 terabytes of storage space in my computer right now. Like I have 16 gigs of memory. Like I have a nice setup, and I don't feel apologetic about it because I started with a smaller one and I just inched my way up with stuff that mattered to me. Granted, I work on this computer, so a lot of it is a write-off, a tax write-off. But the film director in chat saying nothing is worse than a plain computer case. I disagree. My Fractal R5 is a plain black box that's sound insulated, has magnetic doors on it, has removable vents if I want to customize the cooling, and is like dead silent, and I love it.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree with that. There's a difference between buying a rice burner, Honda, and buying a slick Maserati. I mean,
or like a Mercedes E-Class. Yeah, you boring can get, to a lot of people, but
you can get something that's classy and just a sophisticated sexy.
My best example of that when it comes to cars is like the type of computer I want to have is the Mercedes E55 AMG wagon. Hear me out. In the mid 2000s, when they came out with the wagon, AMG is Mercedes performance division. It's like the Mustang Cobra or the Camaro SS. The AMG version of a Mercedes car is their fast one. And they have the E55 wagon, 4-door sedan, pretty normal looking. And the E55 AMG wagon was, I think, like a $85,000 to $110,000 wagon. Like it was probably 30 grand more expensive than their regular one. But if you're buying like a brand new Mercedes wagon, it's not crazy. But that wagon was quicker when it released than the Porsche 911, the Dodge Viper, the Corvette Z06. Like it was a plain gray station wagon, but if you knew what it was when you saw it, like instant respect. That station wagon would plant its little butt on the ground and haul booty. Like it was a blindingly fast car. Now, like a lot of cars are faster than that these days, but that's the type of computer I want. I want a plain looking, totally normal computer that's cool, quiet, and blazing fast. That's what I want.
Hey, man.
And then I keep the potato masher on the outside of my desk. If someone breaks in, they steal that.
That would be hilarious. If like they missed the computer underneath your desk and went for the one that's visible. I should keep
an old broken iMac sitting up on my desk.
Dude, put it behind your screen or something.
Yeah. And then
when they walked in, they'd see the Apple logo first on the back.
Exactly.
I just processed that.
It's like, you're the Toyota Camry and is one of the most stolen cars. Everyone knows what it is. They know there's resale value. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, man.
That's as far as we're going to go tonight, just because we could talk about it for another 45 minutes. We'll come back to this maybe next week, maybe the week after. But so hopefully, if you're considering it, we've given you good reasons why you could switch to PC gaming and reassured you that it's not that hard. So as we close out here, we've got a couple little bits of advice we're going to give you. My first bit of advice is if you want to find out more, if you're thinking about making the switch and you want to make a sample build, there's a podcast you can write into that will help you. casualshenanigans@gmail.com. If we don't answer it on this podcast, we'll answer it on Casual Shenanigans Tech, where Dave and I will go in depth. Like we'll really work with you on it. And we will help you get the perfect build for your budget. And I don't want to toot our own horn too much, but we're good at it. Like, because we've been doing it so long. I mean, it's not like we don't have the secret sauce. We just have the experience. And we will gladly help you. My first tip to you, and I say it a lot, don't shoot for the ultra graphics. Don't try to max everything out in your first build. High settings take like 50 to 60% of the horsepower as very high or max graphics, and they look almost as good. If it's your first time getting into it, you'll think they look basically just as good. Don't shoot for the absolute top of the line. Shoot for a nice medium build so you can learn what you like and learn what matters to you. Because as we've established here, Dave really, really cares about graphics. Mm-hmm. Because he's a 3D artist, he loves art. Like it's not him.
Apparently
just being
not as much as you do.
Because I have 4K. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Dave really cares about cores.
We've covered this before, James. I think on the tech podcast, I went for 1440p because I knew if I went for 4K, I wasn't going to rest until the slider went to ultra. I was going to spend like $3,000 on graphics cards to make the slider go to ultra at 4K. I knew better. I went for 1440p so that I could keep the slider on very high and ultra without
So you
going
can keep
crazy.
the lights on and food in the fridge is what he means.
What graphics
Yes.
card do you have, Dave?
Same as Jeremiah, the 980 Ti.
Nice.
Which means he can max everything out at 1440p.
Gotcha.
Pretty much. I mean, there's some games that have like a special option that's super demanding. That's different. But like every regular game, he can max out. But that's my tip for you is go for a nice middle of the road build. Will still look better than any console. And you can learn what matters to you. So Dave loves graphics. I like a nice stable frame rate. And I like good graphics, but I like pixel density more. I like 4K more than I like the highest resolution shadows, for example.
Yeah.
And good sound is very important to me. I try not to fuss at my friends too much about their setups because I know it doesn't matter to them as much. But my sound is right. Let me just put it that way. It's the way it should be.
I'm not using the Astros anymore. Okay.
You're using those headphones I recommended, aren't you? And you like them, don't you?
Yeah,
They
you
are
sound so much
fantastic.
better with different headphones.
Shut up, James. James, what's your tip then, buddy?
My
pal?
my tip is don't skimp out on the chair that you buy for your setup. It's easy to go into a store and look at the prices. Say you go to Staples or something and see something was $200 on sale for $100. I'm like, oh, that's 50% off. That's probably a really good chair. You need to probably spend a little more than that. I've bought multiple chairs. This last one I spent a little more on just because I spend a lot of time, whether I'm, editing videos for work or, gaming. And so I wanted an experience where I could, be comfortable. So I spent a little bit more. I mean, if you really want a decent chair, plan on spending at least $200 for something that, I mean, that's after sale price. That's not before sale price.
Or game on your couch. If you're used to gaming on your couch, you can do that with a PC. So don't.
Yeah.
What James is saying is, if you're going to play like at a desk in like an office setup, if you're going to be using your computer for more leisure stuff as opposed to just work, don't skimp out. What do you have? You have like a Lazy Boy chair, right?
Yeah.
Lazy Boy desk chair.
Yep.
No, I have
Can't see it.
I have a Costco chair, very similar to that, just big brown leather, very padded. It's actually starting to kind of get a little worn, cracked on the sides. I don't like that, but it's very, very comfortable. Especially if you have back issues. Now, there's no substitute for exercising, losing weight, and stretching and taking care of your back. But a good chair is really nice. Like that'll, if you're going to spend a lot of time in it, yeah, definitely don't cheap out on that. What do you got, Dave?
For just general advice?
General advice. If not, this is like if someone's just starting to maybe put together a build list and stuff.
I would actually apply my general advice for most like big decisions that I make for what I'm going to buy is definitely do your research first. I know it can be intimidating, but we've already talked about how many resources there are. Do at least a cursory amount of research. Learn about what the different parts are for, how they come together, and what the options are. So even if you have to go to someone for help, which I also recommend, you'll have a jumping off point for asking those questions. You'll know good questions to ask, basically. So yeah, do some research up front.
Can I throw something on top of that?
Yeah.
Don't just go into like Best Buy and get advice.
They don't know
get
what they're
advice
talking
from them.
about.
I mean, sometimes they do actually legitimately enjoy computing. But a lot of times they know what they've been trained on. And so, I mean, it's definitely find the places that you can actually trust. I mean, essentially know what you want when you go into a store, if you're actually going to go into a store and not, just purchase online.
It can be really easy if you go on r/build-a-pc, reddit.com/r/build-a-pc. There's tons of other people asking for advice on their builds, and you can just read through some of their lists. So they'll say this is what they want to do, and people will recommend a bunch of builds, and you'll see like, okay, this is the build that everyone seems to agree is the best for what they want. Read through a couple more, you'll start to get an idea for, okay, so if I really care about like a speedy desktop and stuff, I probably want an SSD. And if I want a really nice gaming monitor, everyone keeps talking about this ROG Swift 27-inch, cool, maybe I'll look into that. And you can start to get an idea for, now, some of it is hive-mindy a little bit. Right into the show, casualshenanigans@gmail.com. I'm not saying we're more unbiased than everyone else, but Dave and I have done more builds than most people giving advice on the internet. And so we have a lot more experience we can put behind it.
We also wade through a lot of the bias stuff for you guys. Like we're just around it a lot, so we can kind of dig through it a bit for you.
We promise we will be as unbiased as possible, but there's lots of great advice on r/build-a-pc, and you just got to get a feel for what other people in your similar situation looking for your similar stuff is is doing. And film director in chat brings up a good point. If you meet anyone who's saying, no, you have to do it this way, they're a fanboy of something. If someone's saying, don't get AMD sucks, get NVIDIA, don't get AMD processors, get Intel, or like, Thule sucks, why would you get a TN panel, get IPS is the way to go. Anyone who's that rabid about something, just temper that. Sometimes there are things
unless they have
totally
unless they have good justification with that. Like if they say, if you plan on doing a lot of video editing, get an Intel versus an AMD. I mean,
there you go.
if they actually give you some substance to it, but if they're just saying,
if you want to ever play Arma or DayZ, get an Intel. That's a good reason.
Another reason to ask Dave and I is we've owned more hardware than most people. So like when other people are saying AMD versus NVIDIA, I've had like 7 cards split between those in the last 4 or 5 years. Not because I need to upgrade, but because I like flipping cards for different ones. Like I like trying stuff out. So if I tell you, no, it's actually fine for that type of stuff, it's because I've actually done it, not because we're just a fanboy of it. And there's lots of people, all they know is Intel, NVIDIA, and like Samsung SSDs and Cooler Master cases. And like, that's their entire world is they know the riced out Honda Civic with 17-inch wheels, a fart can muffler, and a Fast and Furious spoiler on the back. They think that's the ultimate car ever because that's all their mom let them have. And they think it's the best.
All right. So I have a quick what if scenario for you guys. I just thought of.
We're doing marry, screw, kill. No. What? All right.
What?
Intel, NVIDIA, and AMD.
No, if you know how like phones now you can do like, you don't necessarily do like the subsidized price. You do the monthly payment on it.
Yeah.
If you could do that with video cards but get yearly upgrades, would you do that?
You can.
Really?
EVGA's Step Up program. If you buy an EVGA card when their new generation comes out, they'll tell you
EVGA.
No, they're good. Their cards are good. They're one of the best ones for NVIDIA cards. They have a step-up program where they'll say, okay, if you bought a 780 and you want to get a 980, mail that in and they'll tell you how much money they'll give you off a 980. And it's very reasonable too. Like you really are just paying for the difference in price between them. And actually that program is awesome and it works pretty much like you're saying. There's no monthly fee. You just do it if you want to upgrade. And of course you don't have to, but like that is an option. I wouldn't do that though, because I try too many different things. So I wouldn't want to feel like I was locking myself into EVGA's program. Cause like if there was something I didn't like about their new generation of cards, I could just sell the card on eBay or something and move on to something else. But like, I wouldn't want to feel like I was locked into doing this particular upgrade path. What about you, Dave?
So say it wasn't EVGA, say it was Amazon or Newegg instead.
Man.
Oh, had a step-up program for parts?
Yeah.
I would. If it was Amazon Prime, oh yeah.
Yeah, I'd be really tempted to be honest, yeah.
As long as the deals were decent, like as long as it made sense. Yeah, if they were saying like, but I mean, if it was like, we'll give you a new case every year, like, no, I don't, that's not the type of thing. But
no, but like how the phones work, you basically, you pay the full price of the phone over the 2 years.
Right. Oh, gotcha.
So say, you buy a $600 video card, you'd pay $300 over the course of the year, then you have the option to trade it in to get the next one, and that $300.
That'd be tempting.
I probably would. Yeah, I probably would. I'd like if they offered
sorry
that
for the sidetrack.
No, that's very reasonable.
That's good. That's dangerous.
All right, but we'll come back to this and we'll continue on this on a future episode. But now it's time for the news.
News time.
Oh man, that sexy voice. That mic was a good investment. Thank you, Patreon. Dave, what's your news item?
You guys have all bought consoles the last few years, right? Like the new gen PS4, Xbox One. Do you guys get bundled games with your console?
Yes. Physical games? No.
Yeah, I'm getting to that.
Okay.
Do you get any games with your console?
Yes.
Yeah. Did you get a download code or a box?
Yes. Download code.
One
every
each.
time. Oh, really? You got a physical game? What'd you get a physical game with?
I think
which
Destiny. Destiny was physical.
Oh, okay. Oh, you bought the bundle that came with the white PS4 and stuff? Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
and then
I
Halo, the Master Chief Collection was obviously a download.
Yeah, that was
definitely
a download.
Yeah. I actually enjoy box games just because of nostalgia. Like, I like having certain games. Like, I want to have the box. But GameSpot just announced that they are doing...
GameStop.
I said GameSpot, didn't I?
Yeah, it's all right. It's similar.
I haven't been in one of these stores in probably 6 years. It's been a long time. Their PC gaming selection's not great. GameStop just announced that they're doing no more physical game bundles digital game bundles because that hurts the used game ecosystem that they live off of. Like they feed off of those used games that are traded back in. And if you think about it, it really makes sense for them. How many games do you get out of a bundle that like you're actually going to play? I lucked out and got Last of Us that I really enjoyed. But a lot of people, like you get like Halo or maybe a game that you're not into or some RPG. Maybe you don't like RPGs. If it's physical and you can trade that thing in, you get it for free. Of course you're going to get rid of it.
Man, that is a risky move on their part because GameStop needs console manufacturers. Like their business model heavily revolves around that. And
I don't know if you've been in their store lately.
Well,
their business model's shifting a little bit
towards like Apple and
towards
and
merchandising.
Yeah, that's true. But as of right now, they still need him, and this might be the start of their move away from him. But console manufacturers need GameStop too, because they need someone to physically sell their consoles. But as digital games become more prevalent, I mean, you can always just buy that console from Amazon or Walmart or somewhere else. I think the biggest reason we haven't seen much cheaper games on digital than their physical counterparts, like they should be cheaper, it costs less to make, is that you don't want to screw over GameStop because you need them to sell your stuff.
Yeah.
But if GameStop wants to start screwing over, if they're saying like, hey, this hot new bundle, I think they're screwing themselves though. How many people are going to come in? Go ahead, James.
I'm going to be honest. I buy most of my games at Best Buy now. Like,
because you're in their gamer club thing.
Yeah, it's okay. So when you buy, GameStop has their Power Up rewards.
Okay.
It's $15 and you get 10% off used games. You get 10% on used games you trade in, and then like used accessories and stuff like that.
Okay.
With Best Buys, you get the 10% off used games and trade-ins also, but you get 20% off new physical copy games, even if it's on sale.
That's
so like
good.
if you find like if I wanted to buy, say Fallout 4, I'm not going to pay $60. I'm going to pay $48 for it.
And how much is this a year?
$30 for 2 years.
I should just go ahead and join because
it's literally a no-brainer because you will pay it off so quick. You'll pay it off after like 3 games easily. And I've bought so many.
I could play Forza 6, or like if I got a game that was shorter, I could play it and then probably sell it for about what I paid after their discount.
Well, yeah, and you do get the 10% trade-in bonus too. So
Man,
I mean, and they give you like the introductory coupons and stuff like that. But yeah, that's been an amazing investment. And so I have a hard time going into GameStop unless it's a game that just I can't find in Best Buy, or they have just a little random sale, or have used amiibos or something like that. Otherwise, like I'm like, do I want to buy it used or do I want to buy it new? It actually comes out a little cheaper if I buy it new.
Yeah. Well, GameStop, they've been screwing themselves over for years with that. Like a brand new used game, $55. Like, no thanks. I'll spend the extra $5 and get a new version. Thanks.
Oh yeah, they also have Best Buy is really they're really stepping up their game. Like when you pre-order, yeah, no, I'm serious. I'm not wearing blue for nothing. No, this is not Best Buy. When a lot of games that you pre-order now, you get a $10 gift card when you pay for it. So like if I purchase, yeah. So like it's only like the big ones. It's not like every single one. Like Super Mario Maker didn't give one.
Those are the only ones I'd buy at Best Buy anyway.
But like Halo 5, so I will get it for $48, and then I'll get the $10 gift card on top of that. So like I don't see GameStop competition competing with that for me.
Actually, pretty good. I might be Googling this right now, and it looks like Dave is too.
Yeah, well, it used to cost a lot more for that program, and they're like, nobody's buying it. So
I'm learning here. I'm actually pretty interested in that, not gonna lie, because there's a couple physical games I'm gonna buy this fall. Huh.
Just wrap up the story though. The one thing that really surprised me too is not only are they doubling down on this, like no more digital bundles, we're not going to do it. Right now they said, and this is an actual quote, "We've worked with Sony, Microsoft, and EA to," and this is where the quote ends, "to reach an arrangement for the retailer to provide physical copies with any new consoles purchased." So they're sticking with the physical for now.
Gotcha. Okay.
So they had that arranged now, but they said, and they actually said this, that if Sony and Microsoft continue to release digital-only bundles, they're going to basically shove them aside and then work directly with publishers like EA to do bundles instead. Like that's
risky.
That's a hard line right there to take.
So when like the new Call of Duty comes out and there's a bundle for it, and kids are streaming into GameStop asking for the Call of Duty PlayStation bundle, they're going to have to say no, or are they going to have a physical game? That seems like that's a lot of extra deals to work out.
Yeah.
Man,
How much money are they paying for that? Honestly,
I'm worried. I mean,
because it costs less, obviously, for the manufacturer to do it digitally. Because they're just,
yeah. I'm going to make a prediction. In a couple years, GameStop's going to either be a totally different store or they're going to be hurting. They sound like they're going the Radio Shack route of screw you. We're going to just sell cell phones now.
they're going to have some management shifting in the future. I smell.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
All right, my news item. When's the last time EA did something that really impressed you? Legitimately, not being sarcastic. When's the last time Electronic Arts as a company made a super gamer positive move that surprised and impressed
not
you?
a developer, but like the publisher.
Electronic Arts, correct.
I'm not going to lie. I actually have EA access on my Xbox One, and it's been actually beneficial. Okay. Like for $30 for a year, and you have access to Titanfall, Dragon Age, Battlefield 4,
Okay, so
all
you
the
think
sports games. I think
that's a pretty good thing?
I do, actually.
Can you think of anything that's happened in the last 6 months? So here's my story.
They did give away some free games today, didn't they? Or yesterday?
Yeah, they do that every once in a while. Actually, Origin's pretty decent about stuff like that. And
Yeah,
Origin
Origin's
has
not bad.
actual customer support people that will talk to you, unlike Steam. Need for Speed is coming out on all platforms this fall, except not anymore. They have chosen to delay the PC version of Need for Speed. But what they've said, and this was very impressive, this all came out in a day or two, players kept asking to unlock the frame rate, because on the consoles it's going to be 30 FPS. And they said, okay, you want to unlock the frame rate? We'll have to delay it to do this, but we're going to unlock the frame rate and we're going to add in a bunch more graphics options. We're going to remove the frame rate cap. Like, there will be no cap. They said it's not to unlock the frame rate. There'll be no cap. So it won't be locked at 60. They said you'll be able to do whatever you want. And they're going to add in a bunch more graphics options, which it's a Frostbite game. So that could be pretty cool.
Yeah.
And
wow.
Someone asked a follow-up question. Here's where I got impressed. They said definitively, Need for Speed will not have paid DLC and it will not have microtransactions. There will be no pay to win. There'll be no paid battle packs or all the nonsense they've been doing lately. They said any content will be free.
Wow.
That's awesome.
That might mean there is no content, but any additional content will be free. And I was extremely impressed. I am going to buy it on the PlayStation 4 because I'm a Need for Speed diehard and I have to try it.
Actually, that was one of the games under the EA access also.
Oh, it is?
Rivals.
Oh, Rivals. Oh, yeah, I don't care about Rivals.
Yeah, but still.
But yeah, I might join the Best Buy club just so I can get. How much do you get off peripherals?
You don't get anything off peripherals.
Dang it, because I might be dropping some money on a steering wheel soon.
Oh, it's happening.
But you do get the reward points. So
that could be a lot of reward points. Do you get it off stuff you buy online from them?
No. How reward points? I'm sorry. What do you mean?
Do I get reward points if I buy from them on the website?
Yeah.
That might be good.
It's just all linked to your account.
Dave, does Joel want to be added in?
He just asked if we were still alive.
Okay, I'll go ahead and call him. It's time for his news item. I'm going to go ahead and throw up the splash screen real quick and add him in. James, can you make a time code marker?
For Joel specifically?
Yeah, for Joel hopping in. Let's see if he answers. Dave, tell him to answer. I'm calling him.
Yeah, he asked and then stopped responding immediately, so I don't know.
Oh, really? All right, well, I'll call him and we'll see what happens.
Shane, that joke. Oh.
So, James, we're going to do your news item and then we'll see if Joel's able to join. Joel, are you here? Oh, sweet. That actually doesn't sound bad. This is good radio.
Joel time.
Suspense is killing me.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Hey.
How's it going, man? How's Guacamala?
Pretty awesome. Man, well, you guys sound really clear. I was not expecting that.
You actually sound pretty good, too.
It's going really well. Okay, you're going to laugh, but not that I could have made it anyways, but I messaged Joy last, it's just like 10 minutes, or I was talking with Joy just a couple minutes ago. We were stuffed in the back of a vehicle. we were in the back, 3 of us in the back hatch, going to a restaurant instead of taking 2 cars. And so we were like, and so I was like, hey, how long until 8 o'clock? And Joy's like, we're 2 hours ahead. I'm like, oh crap, I forgot about that. It's been a long time since I've been the one out. I was used to Jonah being like 3 hours behind or ahead, or
Yeah.
so I was like, oh crap, like they're just about over. I'm like, well, they were talking about probably something. Yeah, they'll probably be long-winded. They're probably still on.
So actually, Joel, it's good that you called now. We literally just got to your news item. I was about to do it.
What was my news item again?
Windows 10 automatically being downloaded?
Okay. Was there something else I was going to add on there too? I can't
Nope,
remember.
just that.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Yeah, I'll talk about that. Yeah, Windows 10. So I was talking with Jeremiah earlier this week, and I just thought it's interesting, just the trend. We're starting to get to now. I remember when games were not always online. Like you could play them offline, and then you could go to the separate mode to play online. And now games are having more and more multiplayer, and then they became you have to only be online, even to play sometimes single player modes of it. And I just thought it was interesting with Windows is what they're doing is, which is it's interesting because it doesn't really affect me like other than except for one tiny factor. I like when things kind of pre-download and stuff. So if you have an update or whatever, at least it's partly done. So kind of you already get past part of the damage of like, oh, I got to download like 5 gigs or 8 gigs or whatever. Mm-hmm. So Windows 10 has a 6 gig, and I guess initial install. I don't know if that's the whole thing or if
that's the whole thing.
Like it is the whole thing. Oh wow, that's actually pretty small. But it downloads onto your system, But what's frustrating is, like I didn't know it was going to do that. Like usually under updates and Windows updates, it installs Windows updates for whatever operating system you have. And so I found it was kind of weird that it pre-downloads the newest OS, which is a separate thing. And I think it's not too bad because it is free, or at least now it's free. It's going to probably suck when it's not free, where something's taking up space on your computer.
I don't think it'll automatically download at that point. Yeah. But
you don't think so?
No, I don't think they can do that because they can't give you a product and then try to charge you money for it. Like if it's free, that's one thing. But
yeah, we should definitely keep tabs on that.
Yeah. Actually, I would be interested. Yeah.
But anyways, it's the most frustrating part for me is not really that it downloads, but that it constantly like updates you on, hey, you should update Windows 10. You should update to Windows 10. And to me, it's like if it was the same OS, if it was like 8.1, but it's like the newest update, like, hey, we have some new updates for you. But the fact that it's a new OS and I'm not planning on updating to Windows 10 until I'm all done with Norman, just because I've got a system going. I don't want to jinx this system right now.
So Windows 11 then, Joel, is that what you're planning on doing?
Well, Windows 10 looks really nice. I'm very excited to try it. It looks very clean. I've seen it on a couple laptops. I got to play around with it. But the way Windows can work with other programs and stuff like that, I usually wait about 6 months to update the newest Windows, anyways, because it takes they're a little bit better now when it comes to like printer drivers or video drivers, things like that. It's not like you're getting a beta version of it and like hoping to God that it all works together. But there's no need for me to upgrade right now because I've got a stable system and I want to keep that going until I'm done. But if I run Windows on my laptop sometimes, and I only have 128 gig SSD in my MacBook Air. So when you putting Windows and putting the other software and everything on it, it doesn't leave a lot of room. And it would suck for those people because if that's a 6 gigabyte download and it's not very easy to find and disable it. Because I think you can disable it like Jeremiah was saying, but does that immediately delete the files or do you got to go find it and delete the files?
They don't say. That's the problem is they don't really tell you.
Yeah. So either way, it's not a very easy process to just quickly get rid of it. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But that's a lot of gigs for, or even on my MacBook Air right now, I usually have about 10 to 12 gigs free at all times. It's pretty close to always being full. Because when I work with Photoshop files, sometimes they get really big as you're working on them, and so it takes a lot of page files and everything. So I get close to the limit. So there would just be no way I could have Boot Camp on my laptop now anymore. As opposed to like Windows XP, it was like nothing. It was so nice.
Now, can I expand on that, Joel? So
Sure.
it's a very common thing these days for operating systems on phones and computers and stuff to automatically download updates and then tell you, hey, we've taken care of it for you. Just restart and you're good to go. I mean, you'll even see Firefox and Chrome will do that. And that's pretty nice, but it can be an issue. A lot of people are upset about this Microsoft thing because they might be on a metered data connection where they only have maybe 10 gigs of data each month or 300 gigs of data each month, which actually is not that much if you use the computer all day. And this is like a 4, 5, 6 gigs that's downloading without telling them. And that could be like a big chunk of their connection. And Microsoft we don't know for sure, but it doesn't look like they're really monitoring if people have caps. There's no real way for them to tell. And they can't tell, should we be downloading this for this person or should they be choosing? And that actually, I don't have a metered internet connection, but on our cell phones, Android phones and Apple phones, they can automatically download the update. And my wife's phone, we are on metered cell phone data. We pay for what we use, so there's no limit. But the less we use, the less we spend. And it's nice. But her phone, it failed the update twice. It worked on the third time. So a 350 megabyte new operating system downloaded 3 times. Dave, you have the same phone service we do. That's 900 megabytes in 1 month that we would not have normally used. That actually
that
real
physically
money.
hurts me.
So, it's abnormal that Microsoft is doing it. But I know they're moving in this direction because everyone else is doing it. And it is better for the consumer long term if a lot of these important security holes get patched automatically and you don't have to ask them, because consumers, most of them don't know what they're doing and they would suck at doing it. And that's the whole reason Microsoft is giving away Windows 10. It's for security reasons. There's way too many people still using Windows XP because, to Microsoft's credit, it still works. Windows 7 computers, they could be 10 years old. They still work. You know,
I wouldn't honestly say it's just because of
no. That's a big
main reasons.
That's a big reason why they're giving it away now, is because it'll make them more money, and it'll make less work for them in the future if they can move people over to it now. Then more, it's money and security, because then organizations, if they standardize with Windows 10, then they'll buy new computers that are Windows 10 instead of buying older ones.
Not going to happen for government.
Well, we'll see. Yeah, probably not for the government. For other organizations, it probably will. And then the second reason is security holes. They want to move people off these older, less stable systems because it costs them real money every time they have to deploy a team of engineers to rapidly patch some huge security bug in old Windows. So that's why they're doing it.
As they standardize their product lines too.
Yeah.
Like getting Windows 10 to work across all their platforms.
Yeah.
It'll make you more inclined to buy, say, a Windows 10 tablet or a Windows 10 phone or something like that.
There's lots of good reasons why they're doing it, but they kind of, Joel hit the nail on the head. It kind of sucks because they kind of do it without asking you. And it's kind of the growing pains of this new ecosystem we're entering into with Microsoft. Microsoft is being a lot more hip and relevant than they used to be, but part of that is they're kind of sucking at some of the in-between steps. Like they stumble and fall quite a bit, and this kind of sucks. But, for a lot of people, it probably won't matter. But for the people that it matters for, I mean, it's a big deal if all your internet gets used up all of a sudden for 1 month. Like, that's significant, and that's bad. And hopefully they come up with some way to patch that. And now that it's been made, the public has been made aware on the internet, I bet Microsoft will come up with a revised way to do that pretty soon, because they've done that for other things that people have found controversial. But do you have anything else you want to add on that, Joel?
It's kind of silly, but I downgraded from a 6 to a 5S, and it's been like, I feel so good to be back there again.
Your iPhone 5S.
Yeah, iPhone 5. Because I had a 5, and then I got the 6. It didn't seem like it was honestly going to be that big from the pictures. And even like measuring it out, I was like, it doesn't seem like it's that big. But it really was a lot bigger, especially for my hands and everything. And I don't use my phone as much as most people do for like lots of apps and stuff. Mm-hmm. But I smashed my glass front of the 5 that I had, and the button was broken and everything, so I needed to upgrade anyway, so I was really stoked. But then after seeing with the 6S and stuff like that, I was like, I don't think it's going to happen getting a smaller phone anytime soon, or at least within the Apple brands for a while. So I was like, the 5S is going to last for a long time. It feels just as fast as the 6, for what I want to do with it, because I don't really use graphics heavy apps, but I have 32 gigs now, so that's been kind of fun.
Sweet.
But I kind of feel like a douchebag walking around Guatemala with a gold iPhone 5S.
You got a gold one?
Joel.
What?
Oh
it actually
gosh.
looks cool. It looks actually kind of awesome.
It looks...
I mean, I'm not displaying it. Come on.
No, I know, but just
Bling bling.
I think you're the first person I know who actually owns a gold iPhone. So
I
I
know a
can
few
say
girls that owned one.
I can say I have a friend with a gold iPhone now.
They were like in their
I mean-
40s, but
I mean, the gold-plated one obviously is not real gold. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
no, we know.
Okay.
It's not an Apple Watch. It's not super
Oh,
expensive
that
for no
Kickstarter
reason.
money. Although I'm not the only one here. There's like people everywhere with gold iPhones here. No joke. I'm just like, I'm kind of surprised.
yeah, okay.
Actually, a lot of other countries are way ahead of us on cell phones. Not normally in
much
Central America, but you'd be surprised. Like the world has progressed a lot faster. America's not quite the cornerstone of a lot of things that we think we are. But Joel, are you having fun down there?
Yeah, I am. I mean, it's very, very interesting. I mean, I've never been out of the country before, so
Is it hot?
It is. No, it's nicer here than it is where I'm
Probably
from.
not. It's real nice here right now, actually.
No, it's right now.
You
It's
left
like,
just in time.
it's like 65 here.
Okay,
and like
you win.
The hottest during the day is like maybe 80, but there's a nice cool breeze. Dude, it's not as humid, not even close. It's really okay. Last night I fell asleep to the loudest thunderstorm I've ever heard in my life. Like there was lightning that was just like, and you can look out the back window where we're staying, and it goes down this valley, and you just hear it thunder all the way down. And I was like, I love this. I was the only one who was awake during the whole thing. I actually took my phone and I recorded some of the rain sounds and everything just because it was awesome. But today we went into this insanely poor village. We're handing out flyers today because Saturday we're going in and giving sandwiches. We're gonna play soccer with the kids and helping with a bunch of things. We're gonna be painting a building. Really awesome, but it's so crazy because, dude, the men here. I mean, outside of people, some of the people are good. They're absolute douchebags. They're not around ever at all. Like they just leave the families. They just have tons and tons of kids, and they just hike it out there. It's so sad. But man, dude, seeing the kids' smiles and faces and stuff, it was amazing. I was filming some of the kids, and I like rotating the LCD so they could see, and they were just like giggling, and there was just like these girls that were washing clothes, and it was oh gosh, it was so surreal, man. Like it's in my mind, I'm thinking like. Sometimes I feel bad because I was actually thinking about James today because we were walking through a village, and I'm like, I just had the thought.
Oh boy, here we go.
I was like, Fallout Apocalypse.
This is a game to me. Ah.
I'm like, no, I'm like, it doesn't mean. I'm like,
Hey, you're a side quest.
Oh, James.
James.
There's the line. Let's go ahead and take a step
God.
back.
I'm not a horrible person.
Joel, how's that white guilt hitting you right now?
Oh my gosh. But like we went to this one lady's house, and I've been shooting video for it because I'm bringing it back to our church to try to help. We're trying to basically bring mission trips down here a whole bunch of times into a specific place. It's a community of about 300 people. But here's the craziest part. The place where we're staying, there's these walls around the entire neighborhood. So it's like, I don't know, it's like a really nice neighborhood, but then with guys walking around with shotguns and stuff and razor wire, like I'm having tea outside, and you look up like a nice garden and then razor wire. But
I remember that.
Yeah, right beyond that, about 1,000 feet down the hill, is this village of 300 people. And the people that we're staying with here, they kind of found out about them by accident because she kept on passing this road, and she's like, what's down that? Like, nothing. No one goes down there. Well, she finally went down there, and they've gone back a couple times. They're getting to know them, and just really awesome. But it's just nuts because, like, you're driving down the highway, and, like, you could just literally stop anywhere, jump over the guardrail, and someone's sleeping in a tent or some crazy shack. And then right beside that is, like, a beautiful McDonald's that's, like, a regular restaurant. It's, like, that looks legit. It's quite insane. Like, it's weird because my mom will go, this is strangely beautiful. Like, you know what I mean? Like, obviously you're looking at amazing vistas and stuff. And the next second you see people on motorcycles with a baby, like, on the front of them as they're flying down these roads. And, like, dude, Jeremiah, you would actually probably thrive here because they don't give a crap about cars. They just beat the crap out of them. They're, like, flying down the roads. I've seen 10 wrecks already. Like, no joke. It's ridiculous.
You'd love that.
Yeah, and like the fuel emission, nothing of that. They don't give a crap. Like it's literally smoke everywhere, dude. Like I was like getting a headache driving down the road. I'm like, this is horrible.
There's a difference between like American broke cars and other country broke cars. Yeah, I remember that. There's like a 1970s a Nissan pickup with like a neighborhood riding on it, like build platforms for you and your friends' family to all ride into town together. Like, and it's no like muffler. Just belching. Yeah, no muffler, belching smoke everywhere.
James, I felt like I traveled into the past because there's very few any kind of modern cars. Like modern is like the 90s.
You need to go a few more years back, though, I'm sure. Like a lot of 80s and 70s.
Now, but you still haven't seen anything as bad as your Mazda, right? Everything has more features than that, though.
yeah.
They still have electric locks in Guatemala.
Joel, I'd love to talk to you. Like, man, I think we ought to sit down and have a conversation. Those of us who have traveled to other countries, we should when you get back, because I'm so glad that you're having this experience. Because I don't want to like get too serious at this point in the podcast.
Oh, sure.
I understand what you're trying to say, but like, I think it would be a really awesome conversation to have later, because I think there's nothing that can compare to traveling to a country that's completely different from yours. And that was certainly a life-changing experience for me the first time I did it.
I've been videotaping stuff, so I'll definitely be able to post that online and show that. So
Sweet. All right, man. Do you have anything else you want to talk about before you go?
I had a plastic bag candy thing of bananas. It was really good.
Joel, talk about the salsa.
Okay. One last thing. Tech. I upgraded to iOS 9, right? And of course, I have airplane mode on here because I don't have service out here, right? Well, the iPhone, because it was downloading on the really slow internet here, it upgraded while I was sleeping. So I woke up to a text that said, "Welcome to such in Guatemala, network services. Like, don't forget these charges and everything." And I was like, "Oh shit!" Basically, like it kind of restarted, so I had to find all the networks again. So it was stuck on the like get started setting, but it was getting cell signal. I'm like, how long? I'm like, I'm gonna be finding out that soon.
98 kilobytes, $400.
Yeah, I remember when my wife and I went on our honeymoon, we made a $13 2-minute phone call to our parents from our cell phone once. That was a mistake you don't make again.
Dave wouldn't call his wife like if he was bleeding out, because he'd be like, crap, that's about $15 for a 2-minute call.
They would send out carrier pigeons and hope they make it.
I summon it like a Pony Express and then like send a telegram.
He's got like a smoke and a blanket.
It's like, Dave, it's only $10. It's your life. It's $10.
Let me check Slick Deals real quick.
Dollars is life. All right, man. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah, thanks. I totally forgot the time, but I'm glad I was able to make it.
No worries. I look forward to talking to you when you get back, man.
Yeah.
All right. Bye, Joel.
See you guys.
Jeez, glad he's gone. Am I right?
Oh man, bringing us all down.
I know. James, you have a news item.
Yeah. So I feel like I'm like the official Nintendo rep now on the podcast.
I mean, someone should be.
No, we really don't do that. But so they obviously had I don't know if you guys have heard, they had a little bit of a shakeup this week with like restructuring, which I think is a good thing for them. I don't know that they'll necessarily take it in the right direction with it, but they've moved a few people around. They've named a new temporary president for the time being. And who did they move? They moved Miyamoto and Takeda, and they've got new roles. And they've also taken a few different departments. They took their R&D and they took their system development division and made a new, it's called platform technology development. And that will be in charge of basically hardware, OS development, and network. And they've made an entertainment analysis and development division and the software planning division. There were two in-house, and they've collapsed those into the entertainment planning and development division. So I think they're going in the right direction. I think they got to a point where, I mean, you obviously don't want to make a bunch of changes as soon as Iwata's, passed away.
Right.
But there comes a point where they're not going in the right direction, and I feel like they're probably started to feel a little bit of pressure from, their investors, from their stockholders. And so let's hope that takes them somewhere. Hopefully not broke.
Yeah.
You know, James, I depend on you like entirely for all of my Nintendo news. Like you are my source.
Well, I'm going to send you some of the rumors sometime. Of the new
I accept
NX.
this.
I only like confirmed things, so
Yeah.
just keep those away from me. All right, it is now mail time.
Mail time.
You write into the show, casualshenanigans@gmail.com, just like Callum did. Callum says, "Hey guys, Callum from Kent in England, UK here. I currently have a very budget build, which I'm looking to upgrade, also on a budget. I play some older games okay right now, and all indie games are fine, but older AAA titles have to be on lowest settings, and recent titles just won't run. My specs are as follows. AMD A6 6400 APU, overclocked to 4.3 gigahertz. So that's one of AMD's processors where the processor and the graphics chip are built into the processor, and it all runs together. So no graphics card, no dedicated graphics card. Then he has 4 gigs of memory, ASRock motherboard, 320 gig hard drive, and a Zalman case. Basically, I want to play games at 720p or 1080p at medium settings at a solid 30 to 40 FPS. That'd be fine. I'm not a graphics snob, so even Xbox 360 quality is fine for me as long as frame rates are smooth. I like RPGs, and I'm big into single player, as I like to lose myself in a deep story. The Elder Scrolls games and the first 2 Witcher titles are big hits with me, and I've also started to play World of Warcraft and The Lord of the Rings Online. This all needs to be done as cheap as possible, but I'm also not going to set a budget as I don't want to restrict you guys to a certain price point. Just suggest what you would do. It's not a case of I don't want to spend more. I just can't right now. Money's tight at the moment, but I still want to be able to play all the games that I pick up in Steam sales and Humble Bundles."
Repeat the specs again.
He has an AMD A6 6400K APU. So that's his graphics and processor. It's a quad core. He's overclocked it to 4.3 gigahertz. Not a bad processor. It's actually very comparable to the i5 750 that's in the Potato Masher. They're like pretty neck and neck. And then 4 gigs of RAM, ASRock motherboard, 320 gig hard drive, Zalman case. He doesn't list his power supply, which is the only thing that makes it hard for me to give you a recommendation. But what I'm going to recommend is you get a Radeon R7 260X, either R7 or R9. You know, it's one of those two. 260X, and let me look up how much that is in pounds. I looked it up earlier this week. I think it's around 100 pounds, but let me confirm. But that's going to be comparable to like, it's going to be better than a GTX 750 Ti. It's going to be maybe a tiny bit worse than the GTX 760 that's in the Potato Masher, if that gives you some kind of
But that'll
idea.
allow him to at least play Witcher on medium settings, maybe a couple high.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And you can get that. Let's see. Okay, for a 1 to 2 gig model VRAM, you're looking at, from Amazon UK, you're looking at 100 to 130 pounds. Now, you need to have a power supply that's at least like 450 or 500 watts. If you don't, let us know, and we write back to us, and we can give you more detailed instructions on what you should do. But that graphics card would blow away what you want. You can even get a much worse graphics card than that. You could get an R7 250X. That card might even run on a crappy power supply if you have a crappy one. But yeah,
Where's he located?
Kent in England.
Maybe we can enlist some of our abroad.
We have people.
Members.
We have people over there.
We have contacts.
If you guys know anybody or know any good deal sites over there, I imagine Amazon's probably one of the better spots. But if you can chip in possibly about, like, if that's a decent price or not, it's about the same amount of pounds as it is dollars. So depending on the exchange rate, that's a better or worse deal on any given day. But yeah, the R7 260X is our official recommendation, but you need to have like a decent power supply. Maximum Troll is a good point too. If you have a hard time finding a 260X, the R7 360 could also be good. It depends on the prices. I don't know what they are in the UK. Last time I checked, they were more expensive in America. So if they've come down to similar prices, get a R7 360. But if they haven't, a 260X is a great card. And
if you want any recommendations for single player games, you can also write us back, and I'll see if I can list a few more since you like some of those games. Yeah, we'll help.
Yeah, we'll help you out, man. Definitely write back to us either way, and we'll go further with you. So yeah. Then our second bit of mail is Matthias from Argentina, or Matthias, but I didn't want to mess his name up. This year has been an awesome year for games so far. The Witcher, GTA, The Witcher, and The Witcher. Anyway, what I can't seem to find is a good co-op game to casually play with friends, so I want to ask you for some recommendations. these are the requirements. Got to be cheap or free because my friends don't want to pay for GTA 5. It has to be casual. We don't want to grind month to month to get gear doing over and over from the same dungeon, so no MMORPGs. It has to be a noob-friendly game. We don't want to expend 3 hours trying to understand what we should put our skill points on. And it has to be enjoyable. We played League of Legends for many years, but we've reached a point where we can't stand the community anymore. And it has to work. We don't want to be trying to log or get together for hours. Like, it has to be pretty reliable. I know it's a tough one, but I challenge you guys to find the perfect co-op game. Keep up the great work and stay casual. Do you guys have a... Hold on.
Well, is there more?
P.S. Do you guys have a day set up to play GTA, or do you just randomly jump into it any day? Asking so I can find you on to play. Come hang out. It's
probably pretty much both.
Most days, at least 3 or 4 times during the week. If you hop into our Teamspeak server at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, there will be people there playing something. And then, Ultra Grunt just wrote the 2 things in chat. Dave, I'm assuming they were the 2 games you were going to recommend because it's what I was going to recommend too.
Oh, when I think casual co-op, I think Arma, but I guess
No,
not Arma.
I know you're joking.
Payday 2, Rocket League, Killing Floor 2. Also, I mean, Left 4 Dead is still fun if you haven't played Left 4 Dead before.
Oh yeah, Left 4 Dead is
2.
an amazing co-op game.
Yeah, that's great.
But yeah, Left 4 Dead 2, super awesome if you guys like shooters. Rocket League is super easy to get into, and there's so much laughing, hilarious fun to be had in Rocket League. Like that
laughing
is a real,
and grunting.
that is a pick up and play game, like if there ever was one. Payday 2 is fun. You're gonna get a little angrier in Payday 2 because you're gonna get into it. But if you want depth, Payday 2 has depth, but you can also just mess around and steal stuff and not take it too seriously if you want to. So
the funny thing about Payday is you can do a match and like, okay, we're getting pretty good at it, and you can accidentally pick the wrong next level to play, and you're like, oh my god, we can't even like stay alive for 5 minutes.
Remember, Payday 2, Black Tar Heroin of co-op video games.
Man, we need to play. We need to play again.
Yeah, we say that every time, and then we're all like,
but we have jobs and families.
We need Shane to shepherd us through. So
Shane is the Terminator in that game.
Yeah. I've watched Shane play by himself before, and I'm just like, I don't think people are supposed to do that. But yeah, Payday 2, Left 4 Dead 2, Counter-Strike, Global Offensive, if you want more of a shooter one, but you're also going to run into community issues there. And then Rocket League and Killing Floor 2, all good choices. Whew, man, this is a long episode. But you know what time it is?
What time is it?
It's Potato Masher time. Time. This is a game people have been asking for months, and I am happy to say we finally have a test for you. Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain on the Potato Masher. And the good thing is, it's a game that runs well on all systems, so I knew it was going to be pretty good for the Potato Masher, but I don't want to spoil too much, so hosts, do you guys have it ready?
Yep.
Only stipulation I'll say, if you're watching this video after the fact on YouTube, I encourage you to go watch the regular video on my channel because it'll be a much higher bit rate and it'll be 60 FPS, where the podcast, I'm going to embed it in there, but it's only going to be 30 FPS. So go check it out on my channel.
It makes a big difference, especially last
Peasantry.
week.
Ugh,
it makes a big difference. I could just upload the podcast at 25 megabit and 60 FPS, but that might take a little while to render. So I'm going to try to avoid the 4-hour render time. But anyway, hosts, you guys good to go?
Yep.
I'm ready.
All right. Here is Metal Gear Solid 5 on the Potato Masher in 3, 2, 1. Today we'll be comparing Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain on the PlayStation 4 and the Potato Masher. The Potato Masher is the brainchild of the Casual Shenanigans Gaming podcast. It's a $350 PC custom built in December of 2014 and designed to compete against the PS4 for the remainder of its life cycle. The goal is not to steer people away from consoles, but to show that PC gaming can be a competitive alternative to a modern gaming console for the same money. On screen right now are links to the Casual Shenanigans YouTube channel and an FAQ video for the Potato Masher if you want to learn more. There's also a link in the description of this video to the original build and testing video. There's also a link to a high quality download for this video if you want to pixel peep. Lastly, this video was recorded and uploaded at 60 FPS, so make sure you're using a compatible browser if you want to see the best version. Alright, that's enough housekeeping. Let's see how the Phantom Pain runs on the Potato Masher. It's worth noting that while the Potato Masher exceeds the minimum video card requirement and matches the RAM requirement for the game, its processor is 3 generations older than the minimum processor the game claims to need. Here at Casual Shenanigans, we think minimum system requirements are a little outdated. The Potato Masher didn't meet the requirements for The Witcher 3, and it ran extremely well. Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, is no exception. The Phantom Pain is one of the rare PS4 games that natively runs at 1080p and 60 FPS. You'd expect the game's visuals to suffer to hit that target, but overall the game looks great on every system. You can tell that a lot of loving care went into crafting beautiful visuals that could also run on slower systems. Character models, textures, and shaders are all excellent. While there are a few issues with both the PC and PS4 versions of the game, the Potato Masher definitely looks better. Matching the PS4's 1080p and 60 FPS was not hard, and the Potato Masher even did it at high settings. If you want to see the exact settings I used, they are linked in the video description. The PS4's shadows are probably its biggest issue. There is jaggy aliasing visible in almost every shadow. This is especially noticeable during cutscenes, but you will still see it in normal gameplay as well. Even if it doesn't bother you, the flickering and stuttering motion of aliased shadows can be distracting, especially during nighttime stealth missions. I didn't think much of it until I tried the Phantom Pain on the Potato Masher, where the difference was almost immediately obvious. Another gameplay affecting graphical advantage on the Potato Masher is the lighting. On most of the games we test, the PS4's lighting is slightly worse than the Potato Masher, and it rarely makes a difference to the gameplay. However, in a game where you infiltrate plenty of enemy camps at night, accurate lighting can be very helpful. The Potato Masher has deeper shadows, brighter hotspots, and even more lens flares if that's your thing. There's also more light sources on the screen at any given time. The PS4's lighting looks flat and boring by comparison. The third main graphical advantage the Potato Masher has over the PS4 is texture filtering. Also called anti-stropic filtering, this controls how sharp and detailed textures appear at distances. While both the PS4 and PC versions of the Phantom Pain have a fair amount of pop-in, which is unfortunately common in open-world games, the texture filtering on the Potato Masher is much better than the PS4. The PS4's textures look muddy and blurry by comparison. Both versions of the game have notable aliasing, even when the Potato Masher is on very high settings. The anti-aliasing is not a standalone option, and it appears to be tied into the post-processing effect, and is very hard to turn up all the way if you want to maintain 60 FPS. The PC aliasing looks a tiny bit better than the PS4, but both versions could be better. The PC also has slightly nicer depth of field and reflection effects, but these are most noticeable in cutscenes. Combined with the Potato Masher's greater draw distance, the PS4 looks worse the more you look at it. It's by no means a bad-looking version of the game. If you saw just a few short gameplay clips, you probably wouldn't really spot most of the differences I've been talking about, at least for a few minutes. Again, both platforms look great, but the PS4 can't compete with even a moderately powerful PC like the Potato Masher. By now, you'd probably be disappointed if the Potato Masher couldn't play every game I test at 1080p. While consoles might sometimes lower their resolutions to maintain playable frame rates, the Potato Masher starts at 1080p and only goes up. At 1440p and high settings, the Potato Masher couldn't quite hit 60 FPS. It worked fine at 30 FPS, but by lowering only a few settings, 60 FPS was easy. I'm calling it medium because it's technically lower than high, but as you can see in the settings screenshots linked in the video description, most of the settings are still on high. 4K was a little tougher. Even on very low, I couldn't hit above 40 FPS. Once I locked the frame rate at 30, I could run it at medium without any issues. That's still impressive. Here, to scale, is the PS4 running the game at 1080p, and here is the Potato Masher running the game at 4K. For good measure, here is the Potato Masher running at 1440p, also to scale. Now in regards to the frame rate, I know what you're thinking. The PS4 runs it at 60. Why would you want to play at 30 FPS even if it's at 4K? And I get that. I'm playing the game at 4K on my personal rig, and I lowered the settings until I could hit 60 FPS. I love 60 FPS. I know it's unrealistic that most people who are building a $350 gaming computer will also want a 4K monitor, but if that's you, you can play the Phantom Pain. 30 FPS is much worse than 60 FPS for shooters, racing, and sports games, but it does matter a little less for a slower moving stealth game. The Potato Masher is on the left, running at 4K and 30 FPS. The PS4 is on the right, running at 1080p and 60 FPS. The Potato Masher is running at 4 times the resolution, so it has finer detail, but it runs at half the frame rate. You can see that faster action definitely looks better on the PS4, and the game looks a little better at 4K on the PC. Keep in mind that unless you are viewing the original footage on a 4K native monitor, a lot of the advantages of 4K will be harder to see, especially in a YouTube video. It's up to you to choose which setup you'd rather have, but with the PC you have options, and 1440p really is just great. The Potato Masher isn't perfect, of course. I already mentioned some pop-in issues, but there are a few more things I didn't like. The frame rate is locked at a maximum of 60 FPS. The game assumes you have a controller plugged in, so even if you're only using a mouse and keyboard, it still gives you controller prompts during the beginning tutorial missions. The menu is unintuitive to navigate with a keyboard, and there is a 1 or 2 frame stutter when the game saves. Overall, these are fairly minor issues, and are the type of things that sometimes get fixed in a patch or two, but they do slightly tarnish an otherwise stellar experience. Overall, this comparison shouldn't be much of a surprise. Both platforms are great, but the Potato Masher is a little better looking and has frame rate and resolution options. The better shadows and lighting on the PC do enhance the gameplay, in my opinion, but that is somewhat subjective, so I'll let you make up your own mind. If you enjoyed this video, leave a comment letting me know what game you'd like to see me test next. Make sure to check out the description of this video for links to the FAQ video, the graphic settings I used, the original build video, and casual shenanigans. Thanks for watching, and have a great day. There you go.
That epic music at the end. Victory music.
You guys have any thoughts?
I feel like 1440p has kind of been your sweet spot for
It really is.
a lot of games.
Pretty much every game the Potato Masher can hit high or medium settings, like good looking settings, at usually 60 FPS. It's a very rare game that will max out at like 30 FPS at 1440p. I think 1440p is like very within reach for most systems.
And in that, like the detail versus what you're like, even if you have to drop to medium or something like that to get it to work, like the detail is still worth that jump, I think.
And I've got to say, the detail bump is nice. Like you're only watching this in a 1080p video, but from looking at Dave's monitor and other 1440p monitors, I think if I wasn't doing layout work or photography on my 4K monitor for gaming only, or for doing 3D work like Dave does most of his stuff on, I think I would have gotten 1440p because it looks great for gaming. The 4K difference is there, but it's not as pronounced as the jump from 1080p to 1440p most of the time. So, yeah, I was pretty impressed.
I mean, both games do look good. I mean, I really appreciate that they got it to 60 on the console. Like that to me makes a difference.
It does.
Then again, hitting 60 is more important to me than details. I'll pull details down in a game to hit 60 if I can. Yeah. Now that lighting was nice
On the PC.
Yeah.
Dave thought I was not hard enough on the PS4 for the lighting thing. I'm curious to hear what you guys think about that.
Yeah, let me just explain what I was saying. For me, obviously, I like the maximum amount of detail. Like I want to see it as the developers designed it. So like every light turned on, every draw distance maxed out. I like to see it as they have it on their high-end systems developing it. Outside of that, though, this is
That's because you have one that can match their systems.
Pretty close. Outside of just like me wanting to see their version of the game, which I would consider like the best version, the best intended visuals. This is a game where you've got to like plan out your route of attack and plan how you're going to do things, especially at night. So being able to see more lights at distance, that's actually a pretty important thing for gameplay too.
Did you ever feel handicapped by that though?
Well,
Yeah. I mean, that sounds good in theory, but like, was it actually practically an issue, or was it like
actually in one spot? Yeah, that shot I show of that town at night. When I'm creeping into that town on the PlayStation, when I played it, I didn't know there were spotlights on the roofs because they weren't on. They turn on when you get closer to them, but I didn't know there were spotlights, and I did wander straight into one. And I mean, I was able to dodge out of the way. It wasn't like the end of the world, but in a later, harder mission, it could have been a bigger deal. Maybe, I don't know. But I'm saying like, I only really did one big night mission, so I can't say for sure, but I would say it definitely mattered. A little, but it did make a difference. It wasn't no difference. It mattered. So.
And yeah, there was one shot where the shadows were really bad.
The one in the hospital room?
I think so. Where like
the
you see
dude's
all
arm?
what was that about?
The shadows, they're bad everywhere, dude.
Like, did
Mother
it just-
base is horrible. Like all the shadows on the PS4 are so jaggy.
It like just went stupid for a second.
I could have 5 minutes of nothing but showing off like how bad the shadows look. But I mean, the point is not to pick on the PS4, but just to show like what the huge difference is. Yeah, I don't like it. All right.
Otherwise, they like I said, they both look good. Like it's a
Yeah,
good
they
looking
do.
game. It's a God, Dave.
So
They really, really have to come out with Red Dead Redemption. They have to come out with a sequel. Every time I kept seeing him like get on the horse and start riding, I started thinking about Red Dead. Like, man, Dave really needs to play
The
that.
Witcher. Play The Witcher, James.
I have Witcher.
do it.
Oh,
I just haven't
okay.
played it yet.
Oh yeah, play The Witcher. There's lots of horses.
Yeah,
your job. Play The Witcher.
but Red Dead has the whole Wild West feel. I want Dave to
That's very
experience
true.
that.
That's true.
I
I mean, I've done
actually,
horse riding games.
I may borrow an Xbox just for Red Dead, maybe like over Christmas or something, because I know some people that have some that, I'll pick up the game.
Sweet.
Well, hopefully it'll be backwards compatible, and Jeremiah can play it anytime he wants to too.
Ooh, yeah, that's right.
So maybe
point.
you'll be getting an Xbox One too.
Not for me. Joel, buddy. All right, guys. That's the show. We'll have 90 Seconds with Joel and game suggestions and all kinds of stuff. We'll make a return next week with the triumphant return of Joel. But for now, Dave, why don't you take everyone through the rigmarole?
Oh boy. All right. Here we go.
If
You
you,
can write-
want to write in, do it at casualshenanigans.com. Dun, dun, dun. I don't have
What
the
is
tune to that.
happening right now?
I was going to do a song. You warmed up like you were about to do a song. I just decided, but I
If you
didn't.
want to write into the casual show, that's all I got.
I just felt really like prepared. I don't know. Have you been like practicing this in the shower or something? I don't know.
Yes, you know it.
You can write into the show at casualshenanigans@gmail.com, either with your tech questions or just general comments, questions, and mocking laughter about the podcast. You can ask Joel about other prison experiences and his travels around the world and his Kickstarter success. You can reach us on Twitter at casualshenaniga, at Evil Viking, and at Germ Gaming. We have a Facebook page now, actually, where we're actually posting if we play GTA or have an Arma event or DayZ, stuff like that. You'll see it on the Facebook. So follow that for calendar events, especially. And of course, we have the home of all things casual shenanigans. Where's that, Jeremiah? Where's the hub?
casualshenanigans.com.
Ooh,
Duh.
man.
So
that
obvious right
branding,
there.
that's so consistent.
We snapped it up, believe it or not. No one else using that one.
There we
but
go.
yeah, thank you everyone for coming out. As always, it's a good time. We appreciate you guys. We thank you for coming out and listening to the show, watching, subscribing, rating us on iTunes because it really helps us out. That is actually one of the only places where it really helps us out. So rate or review us on iTunes. Thank you guys. We'll be back next week. But for now, stay casual.
Stay casual.